Hello everybody and welcome from the Nürburgring in Germany, one of the most legendary racetracks in Europe, better known as the Green Hell. This weekend, the racetracks in Europe, better known as the Green Hell. This weekend, the ADAC Zurich 24 Hours race takes place here, and right next to us is us, producing as much adrenaline right here at the Gran Turismo World Tour 2018 start event. Hello everybody! Woo! It's great to have you guys here and great to have you guys in the internet. We invited 30 of Europe's best racers to have super racing fun over this weekend. My name is Matze. I'm going to host you for the next 2 days, and I'm a little bit in a complicated situation because since you realized that there's audience over here, they are mostly German, so they understand mostly German, and you guys in the internet, you are mostly English-speaking persons, probably. So I have to switch all the time. So if you listen to me and realize, okay, this guy sounds angry, it's probably me speaking German. I will do that now. Meine Lieben, auch euch auf Deutsch, herzlich willkommen hier am Nürburgring zum 24-Stunden-Rennen hat Gran Turismo sich überlegt, wir starten unsere Gran Turismo World Tour 2018. Fürs Deutsch könnt ihr auch nochmal applaudieren, oder? Jawohl, ich freue mich. Back to English again. This is going to be a mess, actually. This is going to be a great year for Gran Turismo. Last year saw the release of Gran Turismo Sport, and it has taken the sales of Gran Turismo to 80 million copies globally since it was launched 20 years ago. But imagine that, 80 million copies. For Germany, that would mean that literally every German, every kid, every boy, girl, every mother, every father, every grandmother at least, had a copy of Gran Turismo. If my grandmother had a copy of Gran Turismo, that would be so great. She would be a badass racer for sure. And also, the year 2018 is going to be great for Gran Turismo because there are big things coming up. We created a whole new motorsport partnership with the governing body of world motorsport, the FIA, and it's called the FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships, and they start in June. The preseason already started in the game on Gran Turismo Sport. If you haven't already, make sure to go to Sport Mode in-game to take part, and the full details of the championship will be released on 1st of June. So, German again. Meine Lieben, wir sind extrem glücklich und stolz auf die vergangene Zeit und auf die Zukunft mit Gran Turismo. Im vergangenen Jahr haben wir Gran Turismo Sport rausgebracht. Da sind insgesamt jetzt inzwischen über 80 Millionen Spiele verkauft worden, seit das Spiel vor 20 Jahren gelauncht wurde. Und das, was im nächsten Jahr kommt, beziehungsweise in diesem Jahr, das wird für uns auch sehr groß. Wir haben zusammen mit der FIA die Gran Turismo Championships kreiert. Die Preseason, also die Vorsaison, findet schon statt im Spiel. Ihr könnt da reingehen, euch reinklicken in den Sportmode und dort viel Spaß haben. Und dann am 1. Juni kommen alle Informationen zur gesamten Saison dazu. Okay, so while we have 30 top gamers from across Europe, we also invited 10 of the top commentators, which are sitting over there from UK, from Germany, from France, Spain and Italy, and there's one of them is really famous. He's already a race driver, and this is Lucas Ordóñez. I'd like to talk to you, Lucas. So really good to have you here. Thank you for being with us. Lucas, your racing career at Nissan started years ago when winning for the first time the GT Academy. You were the first winner, right? How was that feeling?
Well, hello everyone at home also. It's fantastic to be here, missing the real racing, but also proud to be here as a Spanish commentator and watching the best Gran Turismo drivers in the world. But feeling amazing, no? 2008 I won GT Academy, racing around the world for Nissan as a professional racing driver thanks to Gran Turismo. So who knows, maybe one of these top 30 drivers can become a racing driver again, and you know, Yamauchi-san always pushing for perfection to find virtual to real racing drivers, so it's fantastic to represent.
Let me translate for the German viewers. Das war der Lucas Ordóñez, der hat als erster die Gran Turismo Academy gewonnen und hat gerade gesagt, das ist natürlich super spannend, jetzt hier die 30 Nachwuchsfahrer zu sehen. Wer weiß, vielleicht wird davon auch noch einer Rennfahrer oder hier aus dem Publikum. Never know. Lucas, so you as a professional racer, what do you say about the FIA Gran Turismo Championships coming up?
Well, as you know, as a professional racing driver, we really need to have. It's mandatory to have an FIA license. So having FIA approval, having FIA supporting Gran Turismo World Championships will be, a massive step forward for simulators, and obviously as a first virtual to real racer, I feel really proud to be in such a honorific championship.
So we are really looking forward to it. Thank you, Lucas Ordonez. Can we have a round of applause for this guy? Thank you. And before we talk to the inventor of this game, Kazunori Yamauchi, let's have a look at a short movie about Gran Turismo.
Konnichiwa.
Okay.
How are you?
Good. Please.
This looks nice.
これからグランツーリスモの それをこう
Get to the effect. The feedback is really nice with this. I like it. It's so much like the real thing. It looks so good. The road, the shadows, everything. The car's optimum is here, but I operate it here to get on power early to get a good exit. My general driving style is very aggressive. You want to get in as late as possible. You want to keep the minimum speed up.
確認ながら走ってても限界ギリギリなんだよね。
Sorry guys, I'm just making some changes. If you shift too early, we get to snap oversteer. I would love to be a mentor for adults or kids to be able to give guidance. The reason I do the wide motion is to get the power. Especially if you never spin, you're not trying hard enough. So happy.
Thank you.
It's almost endless what you're able to do with this thing. Really, really cool.
For the players.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, meine Lieben hier auch in der Runde, it gives a big pleasure to me. Ich bin sehr, sehr stolz, einen ganz besonderen Mann hier begrüßen zu dürfen. Please welcome with me the creator of Gran Turismo, Mr. Kazunori Yamauchi. Yamauchi-san, this is a big year for Gran Turismo, so please tell us what we can expect to see at the Nürburgring right now in the next few days.
ですね、まず僕お伝えしたいことは、これドライバーズブリーフィングでもお話ししたんですけど、もう一度言います。いいドライバーがいるからこそいいレーシングゲームができるんですね。
So first off, I want to start off by mentioning something that I actually mentioned in the driver's briefing. It's the good players that make a good driving simulation.
今日集まっていただいたヨーロッパのトッププレーヤーの皆さん、皆さんがいるからこのグランツーリスモができました。
And it's really up because of the top European drivers that are gathered with us today. It's guys like that that really helped us to be here and to have what we have achieved in Gran Turismo Sport.
皆さんをこのニュルブルクリンクという特別な場所に、お呼びできたことを僕は大変光栄に思っています。
And I'm actually honored myself that we were able to invite players like this to the Nürburgring here today.
124年前に、今のモータースポーツっていうのは始まってますけれども、今日、新しいモータースポーツの始まりだと思います。観客の皆さんも、ドライバーの皆さんもぜひこのイベントを、心から楽しんでください。
And motorsport started about 124 years ago. And today we're witnessing the start of a new era of motorsport. And I really want the audience here today and the players here today to really enjoy themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kazunori Yamauchi. Thank you, guys. Gran Turismo has a very special place in the heart of many, many real racers. This is what we found out yesterday in the Nürburgring paddock.
This is the kind of car you can drive in Gran Turismo.
My name is Zsolt Szabó. I'm racing for Zengő Motorsport in WTC our Touring Car Cup.
You part also in virtual, like Gran Turismo.
Yes, I played loads of times in Gran Turismo. I was really fast, so it was. That's why I'm here. You know, this feeling is the main difference between the real life driving and the simulator.
And fear.
Yeah, and fear, definitely. Hi, I'm Tristan Vautier, driver of number 16 Mercedes AMG for Landgraf Motorsports. It's my first time doing the 24. My teammates have more experience, so I'm going to learn from them, and it's hopefully we're at the end and strong finish.
I imagine you start maybe with a simulator when you were young, like Gran Turismo.
I did some Gran Turismo, yes. When I was young, I remember getting really mad at my mom when she would cross in front of the TV and I was on a good lap. It was a big drama all the time because I would do a mistake and get really mad at her. But yeah, I did a lot of Gran Turismo when I was younger. The track is very realistic as far as where you have to brake and accelerate and the speed you can carry in the corners. It's almost exactly identical. The main difference is just you don't get the feel of the car going on the track. So you gotta be almost more focused because it's all in your brain, not in your body, just feeling the car moving around. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye, bye.
Hey, I'm Jochen Herbst from Düsseldorf in Germany. Hello, everybody.
Did you learn something with the simulator?
Not
Did you ever learn
at
something?
all. I was karting when I was 9 years old, so I never. I know that some of the guys are really, improving, but for me, it's not. Maybe it's a different generation.
If you have a good simulator, yeah, it's really close to the reality.
We start today with the Manufacturers Series final. 30 players split into 10 teams of 3 members each. During the race, players will enter the pit and swap places. Each player has to race once per race. Let's see the team. So this is going to be the Mercedes team with Patrick as the leader, Sander and Uros, right? Okay. Applause, right? Yeah, you can give a round of applause for the guys. The Toyota team over here with Pierre, Patrick and Matteo. Nice to have you. Over here, this is the Nissan team with Kimmo, Tom and Marcus. Right here we have BMW, Anthony, Philip and Matthew, right? Okay. Porsche team with Bruno, Michael and Fabien. Best of luck, guys. The Subaru team over here with Edward, Manuel and Francisco. Over here is the McLaren team with Vincenzo, Martin and Joost. Good to have you guys. And here's the Ferrari team, Camille, Benjamin and Adrian. Hello, guys. The Renault team over here with Tarek, Loris and Luis. And last but not least, the Audi team with Angelo, Kevin and Nick. So guys, I wish you all the best of luck. So now let's have the tournament presentation, guys.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us and thanks for your patience. Of course, a little bit of an intro to get us underway there, but we had to get all the players ready to go and give you an introduction of the event. And now we've had an introduction of the event, let's introduce ourselves. My name's Chris McCarthy, and alongside me in the commentary booth, someone that thankfully will be known, unlike myself, Jimmy Broadbent. Jimmy, of course, a famous YouTuber within the gaming community. Jimmy, thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be here with you this weekend. What have you made of the event so far? Of course, we've been here since Wednesday. We've seen practice, we've seen the Nations Cup semi-finals, and now we've got the first of our finals with the Manufacturers Cup.
Well, firstly, I think you do yourself a bit of a disservice, Chris, by saying that no one's heard of you. That's completely. But hello, guys. Jimmy here, yes, and of course, being here at the Nürburgring circuit to commentate on this Gran Turismo event. Very fortunate to be here. And I must say, of course, as a sim racer, who's someone who primarily, well, that's pretty much all I do with my time is sim race. Being here at this event and seeing these guys, the skill they display, it's been a real treat. And the races, the practice races we've had so far, the semi-finals from yesterday, they've all been absolutely fantastic. So I'm sure we're going to get an even better show today.
Yeah, just to bring you an idea then of what has happened so far, of course, Matza there, probably our host, went through everything you really needed to know. But this is the FIA Gran Turismo World Tour event here at the 24 Hours of Nürburgring. We're based inside the Ring Boulevard, which is on the start-finish straight of the GP track. So a fantastic place. We couldn't be in a better spot. Our stage arena, as you would have seen from the camera angles there, is very, very big. We've got all the drivers up on a stage. We've all got our own booths. We've got commentators from 5 different nations, including myself and Jimmy from the UK, of course, and a huge seating area for people to watch. As you can see on screen, we've got practice, but hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands, have been gathering around throughout the weekend. So it's been very, very exciting. The atmosphere has definitely lived up to all expectations, Jimmy. Now, of course, we go into the racing, but what's been your opinion so far of the Gran Turismo World Tour? Has it worked?
I think it's worked fantastically. It's drawn a lot of attention here, of course, at the event itself. And unfortunately, we can't really show you guys this, but if you look out from our booth, there are hundreds of people just standing out there, of course, sitting down here watching in the area itself. And I think it's doing a fantastic job of not only promoting, of course, Gran Turismo sport, but just sim racing and esports in general. So it's really great to see one of the big gaming companies pick this up and sort of throw it out there.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for joining us wherever you are joining from, not just on behalf of myself and Jimmy, but everyone at Team Polyphony Digital as well, everyone at Sony and PlayStation. Of course, 30 of Europe's best racers have been invited along to take part this weekend. And it was based on driver ranking as of April. And from then, 30 drivers were invited. We now have them here with us, and we have a Nations Cup and also a Manufacturers Cup as well. So the Nations Cup is the individual event. The semi-finals of that was yesterday. 30 drivers were whittled down to just 10. They will take part in the final tomorrow evening, whilst the 24-hour race outside is going on at night time. And the way that's going to work is it's going to be 4 different races. 3 of those they'll collect points, which will form the grid for the final race, where it's all or nothing, essentially. The Manufacturers Club is slightly different. This is a team event. Before you asked a question, no, it's not based on where they come from. It's based on how they qualify. So yesterday, the qualifying times taken from the Nations Cup semi-final, that was qualifying not in terms of positions. That was the times they set at the start to set the grids for the races. From that, they have been split into teams. So the way that works, the driver, of course, who qualified on pole position will get first pick at the car as well. Of course, there are 10 different manufacturers being represented. We'll go through those in a little bit more detail in just a second, but the person who qualified first overall has been paired up with the driver who qualified 20th overall and 21st overall. Team 2 is made of the drivers who qualified 2nd, 19th and 22nd. Team 3, 3rd, 18th and 23rd. Team 4, 4th, 17th and 24th. Team 5, 5th, 16th and 25th, and so on. We'll go through the full teams of manufacturers in just a second. But then yesterday evening, the 10 manufacturers we had, Jimmy, the team captains got the chance to pick which car they want to go in. Of course, the privilege of picking first went to the driver who qualified pole position overall, and then it worked its way down. And they also had to pick their driver order as well. So why don't you bring us up to date of who we've got with us, the manufacturers, and some of the driver orders as well.
Yeah, sure thing. So we'll start at the top here, of course. We have our first team, which is Mercedes-Benz there in the AMG. That's made up of Patrick Blajan, who was our fastest qualifier from yesterday, and as a result got an automatic spot in the Nations final. We have Sander Dirksen as well. He's also, he qualified pretty well yesterday alongside Blajan, and Juris Rasic. That is your Mercedes-Benz team. You're actually currently watching on screen right now the McLaren team. That's made up of Vincenzo Mangano. We have Martin Grady in there as well, a British driver. We'll go into a bit more about Martin in a bit, because we know that's got some fun facts on Martin, haven't we? And we also have Juste Haas as well, one of the Dutch drivers who was spoke to him yesterday at dinner. So he's having a fantastic time here. That seems to be the consensus for all the drivers at this point.
Yeah, they really are enjoying it. I was actually up in the lounge earlier, and I got the chance to spend time, as we all did, with the drivers. And Blajan actually helped me on a lap in the Nordschleife, and just before we got started for this event, actually, it was about half an hour before we got going. I've got to say, they turned everything off. They put the car exactly how it will be set up for them. And I probably lost time of how many times I spun, actually. But we will go through the full order then. We'll continue with the order as we go back over to Jimmy. Up next, we've got the Toyota, haven't we?
Well, yeah, we have the Toyota as well. We saw those guys out there actually just behind the Renault on the screen now. That was made up of Kimo Keisler, a very fast Finnish guy who, sorry, I went on to Nissan. Now I got a bit ahead of myself.
Yeah.
We'll go back to Toyota. It's Pierre Lenoir. Now, Lenoir had an interesting race yesterday, didn't he? He was actually for a long time the fastest qualifier, and then was pipped in the last race by Patrick Blajan. So actually lost out of a place in the Nations final, which he was very upset with. You should have seen him after the race. After that, we have Patrick Vecking as well from Germany, and Matteo Pellini from Italy. Now, in the Nissan, we'll go over that very quickly before getting back to qualifying. I think that is where Kimo Keisler is. And what I was going to say, Kimo Keisler, the Finn, he was actually given an official warning yesterday by the stewards here for forgetting to wear his gloves on the rig there. So I can see him out there now with his gloves. Gloves are very firmly attached to his hands now.
Yeah, I don't think he's taken them off all evening.
No, I heard he was showering with them last night, actually. We also have Tom McPherson, another guy from the UK there, and Marcus Connaughton making 2 Finns in 3 drivers there.
Yep, let's go through the rest of them quickly before we go into qualifying.
Yep.
We have Duval, Anthony Duval, Philippe Nicolet, Matthew Thomas in the BMW, Bruno Ferreira, Michael Casicert, Fabian Gaillard in the Porsche. Then it's Ed Williams, Manuel Rodriguez, and Francisco Jimenez in the Subaru. I was going to say the Subaru or something there. It's a Subaru. Vincenzo Mangano is in the McLaren with Martin Grady and Juste Haas. Then we have Camille Karski and Benjamin Bader, Adrian Mayer in the Ferrari. In the Renault, it's Tarek Bushman, Loris Garnier and Lewis Bentley, Angelo Scoot, Kevin Rishley, and Nick Aerts is in Nick Arts is the correct pronunciation there, are in the Audi. So that is how the 10 teams form up.
You know, the very interesting thing, of course, is we're telling you guys their real names at this point. But they're maybe better known by their usernames, of course. Some of you out there who are watching may know who is who. We don't have time to run through the usernames now.
We will during the race.
Okay, well, we've got half an hour, haven't we? So we've got an hour. It was an hour for this race.
Yeah, that'll bring us on to our next point, of course, the format. This is going to be 2 races for everyone at home, the Manufacturers' Cup. So this is going to be the qualifying session, which will set the grid for race 1, which will be an hour of Monza racing, which is going to be fascinating. And then the result of race 1 will set the grid for the hour race of the Nordschleife. What are your predictions, your expectations, Jimmy, in terms of the manufacturers that have been chosen by which team, and what cars are going to suit what tracks better?
Okay, I mean, as you said, we've had some time to have a word with the drivers, and again, just before we get into that, I want to say just how forthcoming and friendly these guys are. They're all very willing to chat and cooperate with each other as well as us, which is fantastic to see. But the general consensus among the drivers is that the front-engine rear-wheel drive cars are the cars to be in. And of course, those who qualified best had first choice of cars, and those were the cars that went first. We had a chat with some people who were driving the Ferrari and saying they're having a little bit of difficulty with rear tyre wear, and of course that's going to be a massive factor in these races. We actually had Toyo-san come up just before the race started. He's one of these stewards here, and he was saying that these guys need to be really careful on their tyres to be able to actually push an extra lap.
Yeah, yeah. So, what about the Monza track? What do you think? Looking at the manufacturers, what do you think there? What about the Nordschleife as well? Because that just presents a whole different opportunity. Of course, the tyre wear is going to be quite heavy around there.
I mean, you couldn't really have two more different circuits. You have Monza, of course, the temple of speed, known for its massive straights and hard braking zones. Then you have the Nordschleife, which is essentially one big roller coaster where you hold your breath for about 8 minutes or so before you get to the end.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a couple of cars that are going to do better here. They're better straight line speed, etc. And just to reaffirm, these cars all have been balanced to be able to race with each other fairly and cleanly. But the different cars have different strengths. So, of course, we have the Nissan, which someone described as quite a bit of a boat when driving it around, but it was a stable boat, and they were very happy with that.
Wow, you should be a fisherman, not a driver. Okay, well, let's go into qualifying then. This is going to be, how critical do you think qualifying is going to be here? It is an hour race. Strategy is going to be quite key. But how critical do you think the qualifying is? Is it a lot less critical now?
If I'm honest, for endurance races, we say just try and qualify in the first half of the grid. Try not to get caught up in anything at T1. Don't get any damage. Don't get any penalties, of course. It'd be very easy to do that round T if you cut one of the chicanes. And maybe we should go into penalties because, of course, this being Monza, there are a lot of opportunities, so to speak, to maybe shave off a bit more of the track than you should do. Penalties around here, they are very similar to what you get in GT Sport mode. They are assigned based on if the game thinks you have gone wide or taken too much of the curb, and those penalties have to be served by the end of the next lap. Otherwise, you are given a larger penalty, and if you ignore that, you are disqualified.
I've got to say, it's great information. I've got to say the crowd is getting bigger and bigger with the time ticking down. So we're going to quickly run through the current order as it sits. The Toyota currently in pole position. Then we have the BMW, the Porsche, the Nissan, the Mercedes, the Audi, the Renault, the Ferrari, the Subaru and the McLaren yet to set a time. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in. We have lots of people tuning in. And throughout the live stream, please do send in your messages for Jimmy Broadbent, who is going to be answering as many questions as he can. Jimmy, have you seen any coming in so far?
Not as of yet. Now, a lot of people it's really nice to see people comparing their own times to this there. I do want to throw out a special something, though, that these guys are on a different tyre model to that is in the game currently. I think they're in a tyre model that is due to be implemented soon. And the drivers have come back with feedback saying that they're feeling about a couple of seconds a lap slower on this tyre model, but it feels a lot more better, a lot more communication through the wheels. So obviously some tweaks being made there. But yeah, feel free to answer your questions. We'll try and get to them when we can. Of course, it's very busy here, as you can appreciate, so we can't answer all of them, but we'll do our best to get to you when we can.
Good stuff. Well, of course, we only have just over 3 minutes to go now, and I think we're going to see people trying to find that toe around Monza. We've got the Subaru here just tucking in behind the BMW as they go through the first of the two Lesmos. This is the Mercedes as it goes down towards Ascari. That was, of course, the car that was picked first by Patrick Blazan. Timed very, very close indeed. 0.3 of a second between the top four. Jimmy, are we seeing, of course, we've already been seeing drivers coming in to take on new tyres. Do we have everyone out on their second set of tyres, would you say? Just to bring anyone up to speed who's not aware, it's a 10-minute session. As the session goes on, the fuel level is going to come down. And what we saw yesterday in the semi-final qualifying sessions, that's the Nations Cup semi-final qualifying sessions, is around 3.5 minutes, everyone would dive into the pits, take on a new set of tyres and go for one flyer.
You're seeing the Toyota team doing that now, of course. It's a good idea to have fresh boots in the car with lower fuel. You're only going to go faster, especially around here. Acceleration is key. You've got a lighter car, the car is going to accelerate faster, it's going to stop easier, and you're going to be setting faster and faster times. Currently, we have 3 teams within a tenth of each other at the top there. Of course, bear in mind here, track position also important. If you're following someone round who's also fast, you're getting a free toe down the straight. So you might see some drivers trying...
Oh, well, some contact there. Oh, well, the McLaren is off in the gravel. Just ahead, you may have seen the Nissan was off. Jimmy, talk us through what happened here.
It looks like the Subaru just tried to go up the inside of the Nissan. There we go. Oh dear, tried to get up the inside,
dear.
cut the inside of the circuit. I'm not really sure what was going through the driver of the Subaru's mind there. But bear in mind now, those guys, even though they're in 7th place, and now they, I think rightly so, have a penalty, they are only 8/10 off first, even just being down in 7th place. That's how close it is around here. That's how close these cars are.
Well, Kimo Kaisler there in the McLaren will not have been, in the McLaren that's Vincenzo Mangano, sorry, in the McLaren. We just saw, of course, the other driver involved in the Nissan was Kimo Kaisler. Would not have been happy with that one. As in the Porsche there, we can see Anthony Duval, the French driver, who is just coming now down towards the Ascari chicane. Have we had some driver changes during qualifying, I wonder?
I'm not sure if it's during qualifying. We're just having a look through the list here to try and see who's in the car at the moment. I wouldn't actually advise during qualifying. From what I understand, it is the qualifying driver is the fastest guy from the last stint. And then we have the driver order here, which is set. Once the driver order has been set, and it has been, we have, of course, the first driver, second driver, and third driver. That was decided by the team manager, or the person sort of set teams, so the person, again, who qualified fastest. So that's an interesting part of the strategy. Do you pick the fast guy in first in the car, or do you save him at the end of the race where there's a bit more space to put your foot down?
Well, just give you an idea, the 10 drivers that we have are Patrick Blazin, Pierre Lemoire, we have Kaiser, Duval, Ferreira, Williams, Mangano, Karski, Bushman, and Scoot. They're all the ones out there. There is the Mercedes, having just gone into pole position at 149.157. Here comes the McLaren, only needs to find about a couple of tenths or so. Can we see an improvement of time? The flag is now out.
Importantly, he got across the line with about a second to spare, so he's got another lap despite having that issue of the Subaru last time around.
Well, we only have 6 cars within 4/10 of each other, so this very, very close. And the Mercedes is up on the last lap, so Patrick Blazin off. Well, Patrick Blazin was up on his time, and he's had a little bit of a spin coming out the chicane. Time ruined. Jimmy, what happened?
There it is, just tries to maximise his exit as much as possible, goes over the curb, gets on the throttle, car goes sideways, does well to gather it back up again, but that lap is ruined. Pulls the side of the circuit, lets the other guys through.
Yeah, well, good driving in the end to do that. Very sportsmanlike. Patrick Blazin, though, unfortunately, will not be able to improve on a 149.157. At the moment, that's good enough to put him and his team on pole position. But the McLaren we were just seeing there looks to be on a pretty good lap. What's the Nissan up to as we go down towards Ascari for the last time? The Ferrari up ahead as well. These are going to be the very last time set. Now we're on board with the Subaru.
We have a couple of cars just ahead, all separated by about a tenth of a second on circuit, so they're going to be getting towed as well. Subaru has no such luck, perhaps some sort of karma from the move from the McLaren at T1 a couple of laps ago. We're just seeing on my other screen here the BMW and Audi cars going down to Parabolica, but anyway, back up to Toyota here, who is just finishing off its lap. Can it improve to the... It does improve!
Yes, it can! Toyota to pole position right at the end, 148.715. Pierre Lemoire, what a time there! Well, Pierre Lemoire, fantastic last lap to put his team on pole position, and the Ferrari goes up to 7th place, 149.783. Do we see any more improvements? We've got more cars just coming up towards the line now, but that mistake from the Mercedes looks to have cost them pole position, because the Toyota has punished them for it. Pierre Lemoire, the French driver, taking pole position then for the first of the 2 Manufacturers' Cup races. This, the race that will set the grid for the second race around the Nordschleife. Jimmy, what a fantastic lap.
I sort of wish you could also see where that Ferrari came in, because they were 4 wide pretty much going down the straight, all vying for position there. But yes, fantastic qualifying session. I think now here are the results on screen, Chris.
Yep, there we go. Confirmation of the result then for the first race in the Manufacturers' Cup. Toyota on pole position. The Mercedes is going to be second in the hand of Patrick Blazin after that mistake. The BMW with Anthony Duval behind the wheel, 3rd place. McLaren was 4th place with Vincenzo Mangano behind the wheel. The Porsche had Bruno Ferreira behind the wheel, was 5th. The Nissan was in 3rd place. Very shortly, I think we'll be handing over to our host,
The pole position behind Mercedes and BMW, and I think we all got a slight impression of what is going to happen on the racetrack. So everybody seems to be hungry for the race now. Wie sieht es im Publikum aus? Hier einmal auf Deutsch. Ich glaube, wir haben eine schöne Impression gekriegt, wie das jetzt gleich aussieht. Habt ihr Bock auf das Rennen? Yeah, okay, fantastic. So I think no need to wait any longer. Guys, let's start the race now.
Well, thanks to Matze there, just for bringing us up to date. Matze Brandt is going to be our host for the weekend. He's been doing a fantastic job so far. A huge thanks to him. And it's great to have such a good host with us, suitable for the event. But now they're going out on track once again. So I think, well, Jimmy, of course, that was a very, very good qualifying session. The Toyota on pole position. Has that surprised you in any way? They have got a very strong team, but was it a surprise to see them on pole position?
You know, we've had a couple of guys come to us with the cars they think are strong. The one I heard the most often was the AMG, the Mercedes. So to see the Toyota take the pole position there is a little bit interesting. But to be honest, I think a lot of people got caught up. They got a little bit caught up with what was going on, with issues on track and other cars, etc., bashing each other. And I think that really stopped a lot of people from getting an ideal lap in.
Well, just on screen, I believe just one or two very small issues we have going on. So we are going to hand back to our host, Matze.
Hi, back again, everybody. This was on purpose, actually, just to show and make sure that we are live. No, just kidding. Due to technical issues, we have to restart the race. We're sorry for that, but I think everybody's even more hungry for the real race now, so let's go.
Well, there we go. Thanks for bearing with us there. Mats loves his jokes, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, very funny man. Off he goes now to laugh a bit in the corner. But anyway, we are race time now, and well, here's your grid.
Right, here we go then. As we can see, the first two rows we've already seen. There's the Porsche that's going to be on row 3 with the Nissan. This is going to be a rolling start, as you probably would have been able to work out if you're a regular GT Sport player. Ferrari is on the inside of row 4 with the Subaru to the outside. Then on row 5 we have the Audi, and on the outside of row 5 we have the Renault. Jimmy, what are you expecting from the start?
I'm expecting caution, to be honest. Of course, a lot of cars going very fast into T1, which is a very sharp chicane. So keep it out of trouble. Don't get a penalty early on, and just get through in one piece.
I think that would be very, very good advice. But of course, these guys are going to be very, very nervous with the hundreds of spectators we have around, and of course, there's even more thousands of you watching online. Here we go then for the first race in the Manufacturers' Cup. The Toyota will lead us down towards turn number 1 for the first time. It's going to be a half-an-hour race by the looks of it. The Mercedes looking to the outside then, and the Mercedes is going to go into the lead, is it? Let's see when we get down towards turn number 1. They're going to be 3 wide. Here comes the BMW looking to the outside. Minimal contact. Oh, the Mercedes has ran wide on the brakes. The Toyota emerges in second, and the McLaren sneaking through to third place. Now the McLaren's got the run as we go through and up towards the second chicane. The McLaren now already into second place, is it? Well, briefly was, but the Toyota looking quicker in a straight line is going to retake that place back. The BMW sitting there in 4th place, and the Nissan in 5th, Jimmy. What a hectic start.
What respect shown there at the start. It would have been very easy for the AMG just to run the Toyota off the road, but it didn't. Gave it the room, and now the BMW looks up the inside of the first Lesmo, not really an overtaking spot, but through anyway. Is it still side by side coming up second with contact between the two? BMW up the inside of the second Lesmo, McLaren down to 4th. What a move from the BMW.
Well, the Philippe Nicolet there just making the move there on Vincenzo Mangano, the Italian. Fantastic move there from Philippe, who's going to head down towards the Ascari chicane now in 3rd place. Just to remind you, the teams have been split up into 3s based on their qualifying performances in the Nations Cup semi-final yesterday. That's how we've set the teams. The manufacturers were chosen in order, giving the advantage first pick to the guy who qualified on pole position, and the 10th pick to the guy who qualified in 10th. They must complete a minimum of 2 pit stops then, as Jimmy, I think you've seen a change.
Yeah, we've seen a penalty for the BMW that I think was a bit too enthusiastic, coming out of Ascari. That means you have to get off the throttle and allow these guys back through. But you head to the field, Toyota there, back in the slipstream of the AMG motor. You're going to see a lot of this today. Monza is about slipstream racing. Toyota goes to the inside. Will the AMG defend? Hasn't quite got the grunt there outside of the slipstream, but very good on the brakes. He'll be on the inside here, but on the outside for the left-hander. No, he gets the move done. Toyota takes the lead back from Mercedes.
Yeah, fantastic driving there from the Toyota. Matteo Paolini, the Italian, in the car first in that one. In the Merc out first we have Juran Rasic as they head up towards the chicane. The Toyota leading, but it's going to leave the door open, and back comes the Mercedes in towards the second chicane. The McLaren fancies a look at the inside as well, so it's the Mercedes now back through the Toyota second, the McLaren third. The BMW with a penalty is in 4th place.
Yes, I mean, the BMW has now cleared the penalty, so nothing to worry about there. Has slowed down the straight somewhere, but the AMG, of course, now back up into 1st position. Now the 2nd place Toyota and the 3rd place McLaren are in the best places. They have the slipstream at this point. The Mercedes is going to be the one defending all the way up towards Ascari. Now, again, Ascari, not really someone you want to be forcing an overtake move. because it just slows you and the guy you're fighting with up a little bit. But the BMW now, just looking back, we're looking at the top three in front, almost contact the back of the McLaren there. Now, let's see if the BMW is a bit more careful through here, trying to get a second penalty. All through okay, but now the McLaren looking feisty in the back of the Toyota. When he goes the inside or outside, pushing the Toyota bump draft.
Here we go, the Toyota to the outside then, the Mercedes having to defend, and the McLaren's going to go down the outside trying to work with the Toyota, who takes the lead going into the Parabolica. In second place then we have side by side the Mercedes and the McLaren, and here comes the BMW. He has cleared that penalty now as we go down the start-finish straight. We're still side by side then, the Toyota now on the outside, the Mercedes on the inside, and the BMW is coming up the middle of the pair of them. The PlayStation car, BMW, down the middle. Who's going to take the lead in all of this? Three wide into the chicane. Oh, there's contact, and the Toyota almost running off the track. The Mercedes emerges in the lead, and in second place, the Toyota. The McLaren in third, the BMW is fourth. The Ferrari is now fifth. Jimmy, how are we going to keep up with this for 25 more minutes?
I didn't even know where that Ferrari came from. They qualified down in 7th position up to 5th there. And if you were in any doubt that these are the best drivers in Europe, here it is. Here's the proof on screen there. Great respect shown and fighting McLaren up the inside contact.
Well, the contact there, that was an ambitious move. And here comes the Ferrari. The Ferrari goes into second place then. What a fantastic move. Benjamin Bader is into second place. Oh, don't get overexcited there. You're into second place, Benjamin. Just keep it cool now. The Toyota there in third place. The Subaru is up into fourth place. Down towards Ascari. Well, it looks like a moving car park as we head down towards the Ascari chicane now. This lap number 3. Who is going to emerge in second place here? It's every man for himself with the Mercedes out front. The Ferrari in second. The Toyota is third. The Subaru fourth place, Jimmy.
You know, while this is going on, of course, this is great to watch, but look at the head of the pack. The Mercedes has now pulled 3 seconds on the Ferraris and the guy behind. So outside of the slipstream range now, Toyota looking to the outside of Ferrari. He's had a great start. They started down in 7th position. They're now up to second, although might lose it to Toyota. Trying to go round the outside of the Parabolica doesn't usually work. It's a bit nervous there, trying to get on the throttle. I think he's just gone round the outside of the Parabolica, Chris.
Well, that is a fantastic move from the Toyota. Definitely one he can brag about in the VIP lounge later on at the hotel here at the Nürburgring circuit. To all of those of you watching, I won't ask if you're enjoying this, because you definitely will be. The Nissan, I think, is going to go from 5th to 2nd. The Nissan in towards the first corner, into second place. Where on earth did he come from? The Ferrari is there in third. The Toyota is 4th place. Jimmy, as you were suggesting to me there, what is going on?
Can I remind you guys, this still has 23 minutes left to run. We aren't even a third of the way through this race at this point. The Ferraris are still there. I can hear the Italian commentators going nuts left there. Goes up the inside of the Nissan into second chicane. Does it get it done a bit fast? No, sideways spins.
Oh no, he's spun round. The Ferrari's gone. The Ferrari has gone round. Oh, disaster there for the Ferrari in the car. Benjamin Bader was a lap ago in second place. Jimmy, what's happened?
It just went into the second chicane a bit too enthusiastic, came back across, hit the curb, spun back across the circuit, and now there's actually a penalty under investigation, or between the Porsche and BMW, I should say. But the Ferrari, after such a great start, has now lost all that time, but he is still in contention, because although the Nissan has now pulled away in second place, these guys are still slipstreaming. The Renault, who started last, up into 6th position.
I've got to say, we've only got, well, we're less than 23 minutes to go. When is the first pit stop going to happen, do you estimate?
I'd say around the 10-minute mark, around there or so not too long yet, maybe a couple of laps' time. Of course, these are just the first set of drivers we have in the car now. These might not even be the ringers, of course. We have, the drivers have been selected by the team manager, who was the best qualifier from it yesterday, and he also selected the driver order. We'll see the Subaru there getting loose on the exit. Now, just for you guys at home, that artificial grass on the left, very slippy in the sim. You'll be very careful hitting that.
And it's 8 times tyre wear as well, so that is why even after just, 5 laps, we are already seeing some sliding going on, Jimmy. Just to make everyone aware, of course, that means every lap is 8 laps, and they've already done 5 of them. Right down towards the chicane, the McLaren's going to look to the outside, and he's going to make the move. What a fantastic move. Classic First chicane, Monza overtaken.
Yes, and again, massive respect between the drivers, but now the Subaru's going to have the slipstream all the way up through Curva Grande, up to the second chicane. Will he pull to the outside here, just getting deep into the slipstream, almost touching the rear wing there of McLaren, pulls to the inside nice and early, shows his intentions. McLaren was a little bit weak through here last time around. Let's see if he can keep it there. Subaru takes the place back very loose on the exit. That's a nice little drift for the fans there.
Oh, well, the Subaru there. Well, the only drift racer I know here is the Polish driver Karski, and he does that in his free time, but even he would have probably been impressed with that one. We'll talk more about that one when we get into the second endurance race. Now, the Renault has a penalty, Jimmy, and I think you've just spotted something there.
Yeah, I've just noticed on screen that while the Mercedes did get away initially, the Nissan is now reeling it back in. So the fight for the lead still underway. Of course, there is a bit of a gap between Nissan and this fight you're seeing now. You can just actually see Nissan in the past. So Subaru's very, very sideways. Still spin. No, just back out. Loses a lot of time there. Just keeps it going. But he's going to get a penalty for that, I imagine. Saying that, speaking of penalties, here is a Renault on the inside. McLaren giving a little bit of breathing room, but that Renault is relentless, still going.
Well, Kimmo Kaisler, you were talking about, do they have the fastest drivers in the car? In the Nissan, they effectively do, because Kaisler is out in the car. He is driver number 1 and first pit stop.
First pit stop in now, so will this be a tyre change? Let's see. The mechanic, yes, tyre change. There'll be no fuel added. There'll be a driver change now. We're seeing up. You guys can't see this on the screen right now, but the guys are switching over in the rigs. That's AMG, and this is our leader. Waiting for that. And there's a little bit of fuel going in, it seems. I wonder why they're putting fuel in this. I assume they were starting with... Oh, no, sorry, there is actually a fuel limit in this race, so the cars are being refueled. My mistake. Out they go. Mercedes back out now in 8th place, but there are cars still going round, so maybe trying to stretch the fuel a bit.
Who else did we have coming in? The Renault came in as well and still has a penalty. So they now have Tarek Bushman, who is their quickest driver in the car. The Mercedes has Sander Dirksen now in the car, so they're saving Patrick Blazan until last. I don't know, did we have anyone else come in there? I didn't see anyone else come in.
Well, we have our pit stops there on the left. Guys, you can see this on your graphic at home. Anyone with a 1 under the P column there has made a stop. So at the moment, the Nissan is actually leading on track because of that.
So also coming in, then we had the McLaren has come in as well to hand over to Just de Haas. The Toyota has handed over to Patrick Vecking. The BMW has handed over to Matt Thomas, the British driver, and the Audi has handed over to its quickest qualifier, which is Angelo Scoot. So lots of teams having made pit stops, 3 of which have stayed out. Do we think there'll be a next lap?
Yes, I think so. I don't think you can really hold it much longer than that. The tyres will be done, the fuel will be done at this point. So back in. I want to just say we have a very small lapse in time here. If you are enjoying the stream there at home, make sure to show your support. Hit the like button on the YouTube stream. Maybe tweet it out to your friends and just get everyone in here. This is, I mean, how can you deny this being exciting and fantastic racing?
It is fantastic stuff, to say the least. As heading down towards the Parabolica, we have the Renault. Subaru comes into the pits, so that's the Subaru now in. So Ed Williams will hand over to Manuel Rodriguez. So they had their quickest qualifier out first, the Spaniard. However, Manuel Rodriguez, how quick was he yesterday?
Rodriguez was a little bit unfortunate yesterday, actually. He had a really good run, spun it on the second to last lap, and unfortunately lost out in qualifying for the Nations Cup. But however, very fastest car on track until then, so let's see what he can do.
Right, the Mercedes is under pressure here from the Renault. The Renault is doing a fantastic job. Both of these cars have pitted, to remind you. The Mercedes was once in the race lead. Now, well, Renault, is this a fight for the lead between the Mercedes and the Renault?
Yeah, at this point, they've all made a stop, so this is now your positions as they stand. There's no pits to come in now, so Nissan leading, so had a great stop there. Mercedes is the car that lost out, of course, now 4 seconds behind Nissan, nearly 5 seconds. But that Renault, who started in last position, is now up into 3rd on track, and that is a proper 3rd position. That's not a pit stop owing 3rd.
And talk us through the pit stops, of course. People, if they wonder why someone may have had a bit of a slower pit stop than another team, tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, now, as in real-life motorsport, we do have the virtual pit crews in there. They aren't always competent each other sometimes. sometimes there are mistakes made, so there are variances built in there. There has been a pit stop penalty given to the Porsche after an investigation earlier on. I think that was a investigation with contact with another car. We'll have to get that information on our screen when we can. But a pit stop penalty, which is a lot worse than just slowing down, which you have to come into the pit stop, stop for a second and back out again. Here at Monza, with such a high-speed main straight, that's going to cost them a lot of time. I can hear the German commentator flexing his sigh a little bit.
Well, Michael Kasika is going to be devastated as he had just jumped in that car. Everyone now out, as we said, on track. So in the Nissan, who is out in the lead, we now have Marcus Cononet. Right, here we have the Toyota looking up the inside of the McLaren into the Parabolica, and that is a very, very nice move, but the McLaren doesn't want to give in. He's going to try and go around the outside, and who will emerge in the lead of this battle? Toyota for now.
Well, it's going to be a straight line speed fight here. Who has the most horses? It's looking like it might be the McLaren at this point, trying to get into each other's side draft. We go back to the battle for second place. The Renault goes past the AMG there, going to the first chicane. Back now to the McLaren and Toyota. Can the McLaren get it done? Yes, round the outside defensive position from Toyota. Toyota, they're a bit of a loser. These guys started pole, but down into fifth now.
Yeah, what is going on with the Toyota? Patrick Vecking out in the car. And the Porsche has indeed served its penalty, so it's now done 2 pit stops. Well, can they run to the end then?
Not at this point, no. There needs to be one more stop at this point. The Porsche team would have done a penalty stop. They can't do any tyres, any fuel then. So they're going to be the team with 3 stops at the end, as opposed to everybody else with 2.
Fantastic stuff to know. So very insightful, very helpful. Thanks to everyone tuning in. Myself, Chris McCarthy, and Jimmy Broadbent, bringing you the live coverage here from the Ring Boulevard Arena at the Nürburgring circuit. Nürburgring 24-hour race taking place this weekend. But we are in the Ring Boulevard hosting the first event of the Gran Turismo World Tour. 30 of Europe's best GT Sport players here with us to compete. This a pre-season event for the FIA Championship, where details will be released on the 1st of June. Right, I think this is not over between the Renault and the Merc. The Mercedes is looking to the outside as we go down towards Parabolica. Oh, and what a move! Well, the Mercedes, that was a fantastic move all the way around the outside of the Renault. Why are they not working together, Jimmy? It's very frustrating to see. The Nissan has got this one in the bag now.
It may be at this point they're just sort of discovering each other. Of course, bear in mind there are different drivers getting into the car every 10 minutes or so. So that sort of respect or that sort of communication takes a while to build up. Mercedes going defensive here. The Renault just taking its line at this point, not really looking to fight the Mercedes. Maybe the Renault is trying to work with the Mercedes, but the AMG isn't having any of it at this point. But out there, Renault a little bit slow off the apex, and of course, as you said that, Nissan now 5 seconds off into the dust. It's gone.
I think one other thing worth mentioning, of course, we've had 10 drivers go through to the Nations Cup final, which I cannot wait for. That's going to be tomorrow evening, which will be live streamed as well. But only 10 of the 30 drivers who are here have qualified for that. The rest, this is it. After the Nordschleife, the second race, the manufacturers, which will be up straight after this. That's the end of their weekend in terms of racing. So they want to give it full guns. This is their last chance to show themselves on the live stream, and indeed to the crowd here, and indeed to themselves.
Indeed, yes, and as you said, a lot of these guys going home maybe tonight, so that they want to really go out there and just give it all, just have a bit of fun out there, of course, as well. We're just watching Mercedes getting a little bit loose coming out of second Lesmo, a little bit of tyre wear coming again. Of course, these tyres do about 10 minutes or so before you have to change them, so we're getting into the end of that now, nearly anyway. Only 3 minutes left on this stint, or thereabouts. But the Mercedes driver right now really pushing to try and take a gap away from the Renault, and he has actually pulled Nissan in by a couple of attempts there. Not much of a gap there being gained back, but it is something, and a Nissan driver will be able to see that.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, further back, the Subaru has just made a fantastic move on the Audi. So in the Subaru out on track at the moment, we have Manuel Rodriguez, but the Audi is fighting back, and out in the car for them is Angelo Scoot. If you have any questions for Jimmy Broadbent, do send those in. He will answer some questions. Of course, he's here with myself to commentate on the action, but why not? We've got questions coming in, so if you want to ask us anything, do send them in, or just let us know if you're enjoying the feed and what you think of the racing. Good battle going on here, though, still between the Mercedes and the Renault. That said, the Nissan isn't really extending a gap.
I'm a little bit confused there again. We had the same scenarios last lap. AMG went defensive, Renault just sort of took its line. Not really sure, maybe the AMG is just defending. I was saying that very heavy over the curve, so that might be a penalty. It was quite close to being that. Either that or he got it just right. Of course, these guys have been practicing pretty much all weekend to be here as well, so they know what's going on. Now the Ferrari still leading off from the McLaren. And the Ferrari probably one of the cars that was picked last during the draw earlier on. So to see it running in 5th position is pretty good. McLaren really where it wants to be.
Further back, the Subaru is off. The Audi and the Subaru have made a little bit of contact. It's the battle. We're on board with the McLaren, actually. Behind the McLaren, we have the Subaru and the Audi having gone wheel to wheel once again. This time the Subaru having to emerge from off track. That's the Nissan we can see on screen now going down to Parabolica and is about to go on to lap number 11.
Yep, so we're getting very close now to the second pit stop, and this again is when the race gets shaken up again. Then Nissan coming into the pits now, so it'll be tyres and fuel, and this car will now go to the end. Another driver change now. That just trying to see who's getting in there.
It's Tom McPherson.
Yes, McPherson in the car now. So one of the Brits, one of our guys, of course, that we definitely don't unbiasedly support. This will be his last stop then. So now the pressure is on him. He has now to get this car to the end. There is an advantage, of course. Let's see what the pit crew do, how fast they've done their job. Looks pretty slick to me. They're coming out the pits now. Ferrari, interestingly, has stayed out on this lap. So the Ferrari, maybe it's going to lose a bit of time here. You have to take into account, of course, the undercut, overcut sort of thing.
Mercedes is right with them. The Mercedes is right with them. Look how close the Mercedes is. Oh, they're going into turn 1. The mark is off. The Mercedes has gone off. Well,
push too hard out the pits on cold tyres. You can't do that, of course, and as a result, cuts the chicane, does get a penalty, and you can't really get away with that. Unfortunately, he did gain time no matter how you look at it, but he's already served that, so he's now 2 seconds behind on Nissan, but that gap was 5 seconds. So the Mercedes guys, very good in the pits. It's a shame about that pit exit there.
And that is Patrick Blazin, one of the best drivers from yesterday. Patrick Blazin, who was helping me go around the Nordschleife earlier. Oh, and the Subaru spun! The Subaru's gone round from 4th place. What a shame.
Oh, it hits the Porsche, it hits the Porsche.
And they've got into the Porsche! Oh dear, the Subaru. What's happened there, Jimmy? Trying to rejoin track.
He's just burning up his rear tyres. He hit the throttle to try and spin turn it and try and get it around, but he went straight into the path of the Porsche there. And I'll be very, very surprised if we don't see some sort of penalty for just reckless on track there. But bear in mind that the Subaru has not yet pitted. It's on old tyres, and the tyres are shot at this point. So it's just really shot itself in the foot. So it's down now in 8th position, and it still owes a pit stop. Subaru at this point are looking to come last.
Well, the race has just been turned on its head here at Monza. Everything changing. We're going to have to wait for things to settle down just a little bit and reassess exactly what is going on, because the Ferrari is in to the pits, as you have just said. They will hand over to Adrian Mayo, the Spaniard, for the last stint. Now, let's try and get a thing. Well, it's only 1.1 seconds between the two leaders. Who's going to be in 3rd place? It's the Renault in 3rd place.
Again, the Renault starting in last position up into 3rd. Just to show the strength of the drivers.
A fantastic performance. Loris Garnier, the Frenchman, in that car now. So the French driver, but look at this. We're on board with the Mercedes, and the Mercedes with Patrick Blazin in the car is reeling in Tom McPherson. It looks like it's only going to be a matter of time now, despite that off. As the Toyota picked up a penalty in 4th place as well.
I think it has done, but I wanted to very quickly just say that we watched Patrick Blazin. Look at him over the curbs. Look at him visually gaining on the Nissan in front. Blajan is known, we spoke about to the other drivers earlier, Blajan is known for being at the top of the hot lap leaderboards. They were the words that were said by the other drivers. But you're seeing it in action now. Look at every corner making up speed. McPherson, how well can he defend? He has to stay ahead for another 4 or 5 laps yet. And the thing is, the Mercedes has gained about a second and a half on this lap alone and now has the slipstream.
Let's compare cars. Does the Mercedes, is it going to have an advantage down the stretch, which will just take it past anyway? How hard is it going to be for the Nissan to defend the Mercedes?
Well, both these cars are pretty close in terms of lap time, but Nissan going wide now on the exit of Ascari. That would have slowed him down a bit. In fact, it does. You see Blajan weaving just to stay into the slipstream of the Nissan. Now coming down to the Parabolica. He's probably not going to try something here, but he's going to try and set himself up for T1. Blajan, if anything, was a little bit impatient in yesterday's race. Let's see if he's a bit better around here. We've had a pit stop penalty coming from the McLaren, 5 seconds there, but we'll keep with this battle as the Mercedes looks to the outside. He's now right on the back of a Nissan, only a 10th and a half minute. And here we go then.
And we have an instant under investigation, but we're going to have a change for lead, so we'll come back to that in just a second as the Mercedes looks to the outside of the Nissan. The Nissan is going to try and keep it wide, and the Mercedes going wheel to wheel, having to use the curbs, and in the end, I think a textbook move to take the lead.
Very tight there on the outside, but he made it work. That is the showing there of a fantastic drive, but McPherson is not licked yet. He's now back into the slipstream of the Mercedes. Look at the straight line speed of the GTR there. Looks to the outside. Blajan comes defensive for the inside for the left, but if McPherson can keep it there, he'll be the inside for the next one. Around the outside. Wow, outbraked, but still there. Goes very wide now. Mercedes back to the inside for the first Lesmo. Back pass again. These guys are going at it hammer and tong.
Here we go, the Nissan had briefly retaken the lead and is just going to have to try and stay with the Mercedes on the run up to the Ascari. Oh no, but the Nissan's off the track. Oh well, McPherson has got it all wrong going into Lesmo 2. Jimmy, what's happened there?
Let's have another look at it there. He's too late on the brakes. He's trying a bit too hard. He knows who he's racing. He's running to the gravel now, and I am going to say that is it. The Mercedes driver, Blajan, again known for his hot lapping ability, is probably going to be able to put away now from Nissan, but doesn't mean the fights are over on circuit. We now have the Renault putting in a little bit to the back of Nissan. Only 3 seconds between them, but bear in mind behind them we both have Toyota and McLaren with penalties. McLaren has to actually make a pit stop.
Yeah. And Renault is closing in on Nissan here. Behind the wheel of the Renault, we have Loris Garnier. So the Renault was the 9th car picked yesterday, can I just say. Just to give you an idea of the positions and what order they were picked in, the Mercedes was picked first. The Nissan, which is in second, was picked third. The Renault was picked 9th. Fantastic performance from the Renault. The Toyota was picked second. The McLaren was picked 7th, so again, they're going very well. The Audi was picked last, so it wasn't even picked, and they're in 6th place. The Ferrari, who's had that spin, was picked 8th. The Porsche was picked 5th. Then we have the Subaru and the BMW. The Subaru picked 6th, the BMW picked 4th. And
Mercedes round. Mercedes made a mistake. AMD made a mistake there. We didn't catch it on our screen, but they were around. I think they went off at the first corner. Blajan has thrown it away. What's it? Oh, it goes into T1, gets it very wrong.
Dear.
No, on the exit. He gets on the throttle, has to spin turn it. He loses tons of time.
Oh no, and he's lost the lead and he's gone to 3rd place. Oh no, it's gone very, very wrong for the Mercedes. He's in 4th place. I don't believe this. Well, this won't decide the Manufacturers' Cup. This will set the grid for race 2. But the Mercedes has spun. They've thrown it away. The Nissan's taken the lead with the Renault closing in.
The German commentators looked at me there in utter disbelief, watching that guy go around Chris there, just giving the guy a pat on the back to make him feel a little bit better. I can't believe this. Nissan now back up into 1st place. Tom McPherson thought it was over. Back up to 1st now with Renault in 2nd place, 3 seconds behind. No, Renault just went off in the background. I saw it. He came out of a scurry and went to the left. We might get a replay. You can see the time coming down now. He just had
yes. Yes,
the
he's
Toyota
off.
up into 2nd place.
And the Toyota's got a penalty. So the Renault should retake 2nd place here. The Toyota has a penalty. Jimmy, what's going on? Is this tyre wear?
Definitely tyre wear. We're coming into the last couple of minutes of the race now. We have Toyota still has to serve that penalty to slow down on the straight somewhere. Renault is still in contention. Mercedes down in 4th place. So strange to see that. But I did see, hopefully we'll get a replay. We might not do. I saw the Renault coming out of Ascari, just going over to the left and just narrowly missing the wall, but lost a lot of time in the process. That sort of gifts the win to the Nissan if he doesn't do a Blajan, I guess. If he doesn't make a mistake, an easy mistake at T1. That Toyota needs to serve his penalty soon, though, or it's going to be in trouble at the end of the race.
Oh, Jimmy, you said the race was over. It's far, far from over. We still have just over 2 minutes to go. At that point in time, I've got to say I fully agreed with you, but I don't even think the Nissan is safe. Just take it easy has got to be the message going to the driver in the Nissan, which is Tom McPherson. Take it easy, don't spin. That would be the aim here. The Toyota has to serve the penalty by the end of this lap. So the battle for second should swap hands. The Renault should go into second place here. And the Mercedes, well, I don't think Patrick Blazan has time to get back into third place.
I don't think he does at this point, of course, and we have Toyota still needing to serve the penalty, still full throttle though coming up to Ascari. Not much left of this race at the moment. I think we might get one more lap after this, depending when the leader crosses the line. Oh, Toyota gets it loose on the curb. Don't touch the curb is what the driver said to me yesterday, and the Toyota is all over them. And now that Renault in the slipstream, that dot in the distance there, that is the Nissan. That's the gap between the first 3 cars. So will the Toyota or Renault be able to pull them in? They aren't working together right now, so we'll have to wait and see.
We've got a good battle going on for 5th. The Audi and the McLaren. In the Audi, we have Kevin Rishley. Is this a change for second, Jimmy?
So Toyota looks like it actually had a pit stop penalty. So there it is, Toyota. I think in that case, Toyota was doing the right thing by staying out as long as possible for serving it. Mercedes now has been gifted back 3rd place. Maybe not correctly in this stage, but there it is, Toyota back out. Nissan, though, romping away at the front. Where will the Toyota come out? Audi and McLaren there behind. Audi up the inside of the McLaren at the Parabolica. That McLaren has just gone backwards, unfortunately, to start the race. Goes very wide, tries to get a better run, runs into the artificial grass, doesn't quite get it loose now. Now attacks. Look at the straight line speed of the McLaren.
Huge difference. Huge difference, and the McLaren's gone past. That's just typical Monza tow, though, isn't it?
Definitely. At this point, here it is. Well, they're coming into T1. Will the Audi have a look? Had a little look just to show his nose, to try and distract the driver and get him looking in the mirrors and not at his apex, but didn't quite work.
Oh, wow, that was close.
And a little bit skittish out there. So the time just running down to 0 now. So we should be. We're on the final lap now. There is the confirmation on your screen. Nissan looking like it's going to win it, but it's still all go between McLaren and Audi. So England versus Great Britain versus Germany. So we're just eyeing up our German colleagues right now. Yeah. And there it is. Look, the McLaren pulling away from the Germans. What can we say?
Well, the McLaren is pulling away once again. And the Germans, unfortunately, look like the Audi is going to just lose out here for 5th place. So,
Chris, Blajan is going to be absolutely kicking himself after this race. Absolutely kicking himself. But here's the Nissan.
Well, the Nissan, it's been a hectic race to say the least. But out of the last corner, Tom McPherson is going to lead the Nissan car to victory. What a race, what a victory. Tom McPherson taking the win. Smile from ear to ear, and he gets his just cause. A round of applause from the crowd here in the Ring Boulevard. 2nd place to the Renault, and 3rd place somehow to the Mercedes. 4th place is the Toyota, and finishing in 5th place just about the McLaren. The Audi will be in 6th place. The Ferrari in 7th. The Porsche will be in 8th place. The Subaru in 9th. BMW would be 10th. To sum up that race, Jimmy, would take us all evening, but what can we say about that one?
I have never seen such close racing in a sim race like that, with that much respect. We had a couple of incidents coming together, but for the most part, these guys were clean, they were fast, and it was just fantastic to watch.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. We will hand now over to our host, Matza, to sum up.
Here we are, back again, the Gran Turismo Manufacturers Cup. The results of this race determines the grid of the upcoming race. So, and this is the winning team, actually. The Nissan team, was that right?
Nissan, yep.
The Nissan team. Nice to have you here, guys. How do you feel?
It's great. Yeah, we've got good starting position for the final race, and hopefully we can do well in that.
Yeah. Okay, Timo, you are the leading racer actually of this team. So how was your impression of the race?
Oh, it was tight. The qualification was not that good. I was sixth, I think. But then the guys before me, they started the battle, and I was saving fuel behind them. And then at some point, I think I overtook 3 cars in one corner. Yeah, it was great.
Lucky you. But you all of you guys, well done. What was your personal impression of the race?
That was a good race. No problems. Car was good.
Actually, yes. Ending up in first place must have been a good race. Congrats. Big applause for those guys. Thank you for being here racing for us. Awesome. Team Nissan. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a few minutes with the second race. And yesterday, we already had the semifinals of Nations Cup, and these are the highlights.
Konnichiwa. How are you?
Good.
Please. The feedback is really nice with this. I like it. It's so much like the real thing. It looks so good. The car's optimum is here, but I operate it here to get on power early to get a good exit. My general driving style is very aggressive. Firstly, if you never spin, you're not trying hard enough. So happy. It's almost endless what you're able to do with this thing. Really, really cool.
Hello, everybody. Please let me welcome you to the first Gran Turismo World Tour event 2018 right here at the Nürburgring.
So everyone, now we're going to look at some of the highlights from the Nations Cup semi-final yesterday. So this was Pierre Lenoir leading the way in the first race. We had Duval in second place, Mangano in third. That was an early attempt from Mangano, and that's where it went wrong. Just tell us a little bit about the cars, Jimmy.
Yeah, the X2014 Junior here, very fast in the corners, not so fast in the straight, so Slipstream was paramount. We saw a lot of that overtaking here, seeing Garnier and Mangano having a nice fight here. Of course, we saw some fantastic fights all through the evening. We had 3 of these races to go through, and you're going to see all of them right now.
Yep, so to give you a reminder of how it worked, the top 3 from each race went through, as did the fastest qualifier overall. So really, you have to be inside the top 3 positions to go through, and at this point, everything looked very, very good for Pierre Lenoir with a 1.1 second lead. But that lead wouldn't last for long. His fellow Frenchman, Garnier, and indeed Deval both caught up, and that was Garnier going all the way around the outside at T1.
Yeah, a bit of a French Cup this first race, as we said, and only Mangano behind actually had any chance of splitting any of them. But this one hotted up a little bit more towards the end.
And there was when we were almost 3 wide. We were on board with Mangano at the moment, and there was a little bit of contact out front for Lenoir and Garnier. Down towards the chicane we went for the last time, and it was Garnier, Deval and Mangano in that order, and that was where Garnier picked up a penalty. Deval went to the inside. We almost went 3 wide with Mangano there as well, and it was set to be a drag race out of the last corner. Deval would have taken first, Mangano just about second, and going across the line, Scoot robbed Garnier of 3rd place and a place in the top 3. Lenoir picked up a penalty a little bit earlier in the race, and that is why he lost his lead and indeed a space inside the top 3. So that was how the first race finished with
How
Deval,
was the race from your
Mangano
point
and
of view?
Scoot.
It was super exciting from us as like the audience.
Yeah, it was incredible. 8 lap of battle. I start with Pierre in front. I think we made the race together, but behind they have a good speed, so they come back to us, and we have a fight with 4, 5, so it was really close. And there is 2, 3 times I thought that I will lose the rear and lose the race, but I keep on the road, and I'm really happy for the next round. It's incredible. Thank you.
So that was race 1, and we thought, how could we top that, Jimmy? But we almost did in the second 2.
This one, of course, first one being the French Cup. This was very much the British Cup, with Ferreira having a poor start at the beginning of the race. Williams taking an early opportunity to move up into the lead, a commanding lead, and one he wanted to protect for the entirety of the race. We said Nikolai having a great start, going from 6th to 4th position at the start there. This one very clean to get away. These guys a lot less willing to have a fight, just wanting to get into the rhythm straight away. Of course, his cars they promote that sort of driving. That was Rodriguez on board, someone who would definitely come into play later on. And here is Rodriguez, which we're watching on board now of him coming up to the back of Nikolai. And just having Nikolai, I think, went a little bit wide here. Got a little bit sideways, just grabbed the curb on the exit, which allowed Rodriguez, the Spaniard, to move up into 4th position.
Went past the driver from Luxembourg, and of course no pit stops in this race, so it's just 8-lap sprint. So that is why there was some furious overtaking, particularly at the start of the race. Williams wouldn't be comfortable out front though, with Ferreira closing in, and Martin Grady was also there, but Ferreira at that point hopped over the curb and picked up a penalty. He cut the curb, and then just ahead Williams almost did the same, but as Ferreira peeled off to take the penalty, Rodriguez was up to 3rd with Grady 2nd.
Grady was the one to watch this race. He was very calm and very collected through the entire thing. This is the man that we had through practice up to this point. Absolutely 0 penalties. He's doing a great job, and as you see, went on to then hassle his compatriot, Mr. Williams.
And this was where Rodriguez threw it all away. A space in the top 3, going quickest on track, and unfortunately he would not go through after that spin. But out front, Williams with the assists of Grady both went through easy peasy, and Ferreira finished in 3rd place. So that was the 3 drivers who went through from that point.
Just for start was the most important bit, so I got a better start than pole, and from there I just tried to keep a smooth line and smooth race.
In the last rounds, how is that feeling? They're behind you and like chasing you. Do you feel comfortable in that situation, or is it more like, oh damn it, don't make a mistake?
Normally you'd feel a bit of pressure, but the guy behind me is from my country, so I thought maybe he'd go a bit more easier on me than if it was someone else.
So Kevin Rishley clearly seemed to have looked exactly like our winner Ed Williams in that one, but this was then race 3 of 3, and Blazan was going off pole.
Yes, again, Blazan, we saw him in the last race, just now manufactured having a few issues in the Mercedes, although he was very quick in here, but actually came under attack very early on from Kaiser, who went up the inside to take the place away, and then he was followed by the German brigade, including Mr. Rasic in there as well. So you can see that Kaiser and Blazan sort of pulled away a little bit from the pack. Kaiser going a bit wide there, which gave Blazan an opportunity to have a look back at him. Now, apparently, these guys aren't the biggest fans of each other, so it was really interesting to find that out after their race.
Yeah, Blazan there following Kaiser. Wouldn't have been happy with that, given the information we were just given. And further back, the two Germans were going at it. Bushman versus Rischli for what would be one of the last places in this one. Of course, 6 drivers had already gone through, but Blashan had taken overall pole by this point, meaning he went through. So the top 3 drivers, excluding Blashan, would go through essentially as he went into the lead. So at this moment in time, going through in this race would be Blashan, Keisler, Rischli and Bushman.
Just a very quick question in chat to answer. These are from 3 different heats. They were not really sorted into anything regarding driver rating. They all just went in at random, and here we're seeing again Blashan and Keisler, 2 of the fastest guys in the 3rd race. You see Keisler just very interesting expressions he drives, very intense, focused expression compared to Blashan. It looks like he's driving to church.
Yeah, well, he forgot to wear his gloves. That's how nervous he was, Keisler. Blashan there took the lead back once again as Rischli and Bushman closed in. There was no need for these 4 to fight. As we said, they all had a space to go through into the final, which will take part tomorrow, but they decided to put a show on for us anyway, as Rischli, in front of his home crowd, went up the inside of Blashan, who would almost fight back at the next corner, and in the process nearly took out his good friend Keisler. This was now lap number 5 of 8, and it was Rischli at this point sending the German commentators wild as he almost went into the lead.
Yeah, these guys were squabbling the entire race, and the thing is they didn't need to do this. That was the interesting thing, but they were determined to put a show on for us and take home the kudos of winning the race here. And at the end, it was Keisler who came across the line only just from Blashan there for a 1-2 finish in the finish, and Hungarians there with Bushman 3rd and Rischli 4th. All those guys in the top 4 moving forward into the final.
That was Rischli, despite picking up a penalty at the last chicane, and let's hear
how
what
was
the winner
the race
had
for
to
you?
say.
It was tough. It was really tough. I got passed in the first corner and then switched places a couple times with the Hungarian guy. And then it was just, they were just trying to get me basically.
Did you feel like secure because the Hungarian guy already set the pole, the fastest lap, so he is already in, and you would, even if you were 4th, you would have made it to the finals?
I was just trying my own race, trying not to think anything really.
You did that pretty well. Congratulations and applause for Kimmo Keisler. Thank you. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Those were the highlights of the semi-finals of the Nations Cup yesterday. The final of the Nations Cup is going to be tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Before we start into the final race of today, let me mention one more thing. Team Toyota has been set back 2 positions in the grid because of not respecting a penalty in the race. And before we start the race, actually, let's have a look at the 24 hours Nürburgring circuit right now.
So thank you, Natsa. Here's the circuit we're going to be driving next, Jimmy. I think you may have done a few laps around here. I did one earlier. So this is a very, very difficult track. Just talk us through it a little bit.
Now the Nordschleife, the green hell, somewhere that I've done many laps around. Of course, both in simulators, also in Gran Turismo Sport, one of the most challenging versions, or the most challenging tracks in the world. Many memorable corners. You're just seeing a bird's eye view of the track now. Really does not do it justice. Look at that elevation change, 300 meters. And believe me, when you're here seeing it in person, you can see the elevation change. Not quite as clear on the broadcast, of course, but we'll let you know where it is. It's coming down to the Flugplatz there, highlighted corner. Recently actually smoothed a little bit. You're just seeing our AMG pace car go through there. Now see the car getting a little bit off, a little bit up in the air. That makes the corner very challenging, followed by the immediate, very fast right-hand corner. Now the carousel. Probably the most famous corner on the circuit. Very important for lap time. You've got to just try and hook the wheels in there just at the bottom and let the road just pull you around. If you go too fast in this and you're launched up the carousel early, you can end up actually losing a lot of time and maybe even going into the wall. Now the Dottinger Hoa, which I'm sure the German commentators are going to completely crucify my pronunciation of, but here it is, a very long straight, more than 2 kilometers long, as our graphic says there. A bit of a chance for you to chill out, talk to your team, or maybe just reset yourself at speeds up to and including 200 to 300 kilometers an hour on these cars. Extremely fast down the straight and then across the line, and you go and do it all again.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Jimmy Broadbent. Let's now go back down to our host. before we do that, we'll take a look at some more details of the race. So we are going to have 5 minutes of practice. So then we'll go into a 60-minute race. So Jimmy, just looking at stuff, they're going to be a hard tyre, estimated 2 pit stops. They have to do a minimum of 10 minutes per driver, I believe, and they can do 3 pit stops if they want to. But what are you expecting from this race? What's the most common strategy going to be?
I mean, we always say with sim racing that the Nordschleife is just about surviving, really. It's a very difficult circuit, and track knowledge is key here. Now, fortunately, a lot of the drivers have had the opportunity to practice, to learn the circuit. I mean, we're looking at a circuit which is, I think, over 22, 23 kilometres long, if memory serves. That number might be a bit off, but a lot longer than your conventional racetrack. And for those who maybe aren't too good with distances, and me included in that, of course, that's an average lap time. These guys are doing about 8 minutes 30 round there on this new tyre model. The average track is about 90 seconds. So 8 minutes 30, 90 seconds, it's just about getting around in one piece.
It is indeed. There you can see the track map, and practice is getting underway. Now, they have been practicing, or they have been informed exactly what the correct way is to do a handover between the 2 drivers. How hard do you think, of course, tell us a little bit about the rigs. For the viewers, they won't be able to have a good sight of what the rigs look like that the teams are using, but we've both had a go in them. Just tell us a little bit about them.
Okay, so you might have spied it during some of the host sessions there, that we do have 10 rigs here lined up. We're about to be moving to the race, but we'll just finish that point very quickly. We have 10 rigs here lined up, all using the TGT, Thrustmaster TGT wheel. A very nice, a very firm wheel with very decent force feedback. Also, a lot of buttons on there, a lot of little modifications that we haven't even spoken about. We haven't spoken about things like brake bias changes, traction control changes. There's plenty of time for that to come into in the race, of course. And now, as you're seeing on Toyota, just getting its practicing. A car that now has a 2-place grid penalty for not respecting its penalty in the last race. So round here, that's not really going to make a big difference, to be honest.
No, but when we both had a go in those rigs, were you impressed by them, and you do a lot of reviews and stuff on your channel?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was very easy to jump in, and even with Gran Turismo Sport, a game that admittedly I don't play that much with a wheel at the moment, I was able to jump in and then be, in a 5 laps, be a couple of seconds off these guys. And one, that's a testament to how good the rig is, and 2, a testament to how good the drivers are, because I race a lot, and those guys were wiping the floor with me.
Yeah, I've got to say, I did 1 lap of the Nordschleife in the lounge area upstairs, where we have a couple of rigs where the drivers have been practicing as much as they can. And I'll tell you what, so difficult. The drivers set the car up to be exactly as they are going to be driving it in this race. But more on that later, as I believe that will be practice finished, and we will now build up to the final. So it looks like we're going to be going straight into the final then. Here you can see the grid on screen for you. And on pole position is going to be the Nissan after what was a very hectic race. The Renault is in 2nd place. On row 3 we have the Mercedes and we have the McLaren. On row 4 then we have the Audi. This is of course going to be, on row 3, sorry, we have the Audi and the Toyota with its 2-place penalty. It's going to be a rolling start, of course. The Ferrari is going to be next along on the inside of row 4 with 2 the outside, the Porsche. And on row number 5 then at the back of the field we have the Subaru, and rounding out the 10-car field, the BMW. Jimmy, your thoughts ahead of what's going to be I'm sure, a very entertaining hour's race.
Now, of course, we have an hour to get the racing done here today, but that won't mean anything to these guys. These are all natural-born racers, and they're going to be going down onto, coming around now just to start their lap off. So they peel to the left. We are running the endurance out here. The Nissan's going to have the advantage going down to T1, but it is a very sharp hairpin at the start. And race starting, Nissan off, followed by Renault, Mercedes, McLaren, Audi in 5th, Toyota 6th, Ferrari 7th, Porsche 8th, and Subaru 9th with BMW at the back of the field. Here we are, T1.
Renault defending down towards turn 1. It was a good start there from the Nissan, but the Renault under pressure from the Mercedes, who of course had that spin to cost them pole position for this race. This is the only race for the Manufacturers' Cup in terms of who will finish where overall. The last race is a qualifier race. This now decides who wins the Manufacturers' Cup. So all or nothing then as we head down towards the Dunlop hairpin for the first time. Understandably, drivers just keeping themselves all together at the moment, no risks being taken, and the Nissan doing a good job out front, but one move being seen.
Yeah, Ferrari there just going past Audi in the background there to take to 5th position to get onto the back of this back in the McLaren. Meanwhile, we're on board with the Mercedes, Renault and Nissan in front of him at the moment, so nice and relaxed first sector. But now this is the GP circuit. We're about to move on not too far away onto the Nordschleife proper, as a good friend of mine would call it, and that's where we're going to see driver knowledge and driver ability really come into play.
So in terms of laps, they're only going to get a few each, really. They're not going to get a ton of laps around the Nordschleife, so this is going to be crucial. They can't exactly learn the track as they go on, so they need to know exactly where they're going. Oh no, the Mercedes has gone far, far too late on the brakes, and it's gone straight into the back of the Renault. Oh, are we going to see a penalty going the way of the Mercedes there, do you think, Jimmy?
It may be possible, of course. We do have live stewards here, the real-life live stewards as well.
From MSV.
From MSV, yes. So they're going to be taking a look at that, and we'll get a decision on that very shortly. But right now, we're coming around to Hatzenbach. Mercedes!
Oh!
Mercedes goes wide!
Oh, the Mercedes was fully sideways.
How?
How on earth has the Mercedes gathered that one up? Fully sideways as we are just started the Nordschleife there. That's Patrick Blazan in the car as well, the Hungarian. Jimmy, what happened there?
Here's a replay there. He just got a bit too wide on the entry. The car, there's no grip on the grass. You turn in the car, spun round. He masterfully gathered it up again, but look at the time he's lost to the guys in front.
I've got to say, though, he's stayed in the race as a result of that. But the McLaren and the Ferrari almost had nowhere else to go. The driver in the McLaren there, just looking down the field, is Vincenzo Mangano. What a fantastic job he did to stay out of the way of the Mercedes.
Definitely, that is there. There was actually an incident involving the Audi and Subaru being investigated. Weird to see the Mercedes and Renault one not being looked at. We won't get into that too much right now. We'll come back to you with updates. Coming now to this long right hand. You want to try and get the car right to the inside of the curb here, then just let it very lazily drift out. Don't touch that curb on the exit too much though. And now down the hill, down towards the Foxhole. Audi's got a penalty already, pit stop penalty. I didn't see what the Audi did back there. Hopefully we'll get a replay of it at some point, but back to this now. Through the compression, car hits the ground hard, up the hill. Throw it to the inside, throw it to that curb. Don't touch it too much. So I found that yesterday, if you touch that curb, you go wide and you crash. And now slow it all down to be nice and tidy through this section. Very important for lap time and very important to get this right-hander right. It comes right up onto a fast section.
You know what the fantastic thing about what we're doing here, right now, is the crowd that have gathered really get to see what the Nordschleife is like. Don't get me wrong, walking around the circuit, you get to see bits and pieces of it, but we've put all the pieces of the jigsaw together here at the GT Sports Stand, and we are showing them exactly what it's like to drive the Nordschleife, Jimmy.
Yeah, you're getting a proper on-board view now. Of course, a lot of these cars taking part in the race starting tomorrow, so a lot of cars are here and there. So we're looking just the AMG now being harried by the McLaren. Coming up to Miss Hit Miss now, as we named yesterday, Miss Miss Miss. Now coming into the slowest point of the circuit, a hairpin. Heavy on the brakes, McLaren gets it wrong.
Oh no, the McLaren's off, and it's gone straight into the Mercedes. The McLaren spins round. What a disaster there, the McLaren taking far, far too much speed. In the car is Vincenzo Mangano. And Jimmy, talk us through the replay.
It's so easy to do that. He just took too much speed, braked too late, and the thing is the road just falls away from you, so went onto the grass. Once he was on the grass, he was a passenger, and away he goes into the Mercedes. No. So actually an incident underway now between the Ferrari and the McLaren. Not quite sure why the Ferrari was involved there, because he didn't touch him. But we'll let the stewards decide that. They have a better view than we do. Renault, of course, now still in second position with Mercedes in third. But McLaren, again, making that mistake early on. Luckily, it's a long race. But that's not how you want your race to start.
Oh, what a disaster. You have to feel sorry for them. And there's a pit stop penalty for the Ferrari. What did the Ferrari do in all of that?
Maybe the Ferrari hit the Mercedes in the rear. We didn't quite get a good camera angle to see that, but that's going to be terrifying for the Ferrari, because that means they're going to come into the pits and just be far, far behind outside all of this. Although you could say on an upside, they won't have to deal with everybody else, but they're going side by side for the fast left. That's not some of Ferrari. Almost gets up the grass, sideways on the exit there. Now for the right-hander, this is blind. You have to take it as fast as possible. I've never seen people go too wide there before. Wow.
This is why everyone loves the Nordschleife. This is proper Nordschleife racing. Not enough room for two cars to go wide, but somehow the drivers figure it out, and sometimes they get round in one piece, sometimes they don't. Here we go onto the carousel then, and the BMW, and oh, we got another off.
McLaren again, when we were speaking about it in the track guide just before we started, McLaren got spat out of the carousel and lost a lot of time. Bad to worse than McLaren, but now watching the Porsche, who were relatively quiet in the last race, to be honest. We didn't see much of them, but up into 6th place right now, will be promoted to 5th once the Ferrari pits in. Now, this last section, this is the best bit of circuit in the world. I love this section. It's all about, it's very technical, all about managing speed, watching this curve, over the crest, take it now to the outside. Don't go too far to the outside here though, because the track cambers back in. Over to the left, this curve on the right, don't touch it. Touch that, you're going to lose that. Said, don't touch it. They're taking over it. That's why these guys. Yeah, that's what these guys are racing. And
that's
I'm not
where
at this
2
point.
seconds is, mate.
We call this one YouTube Cool. That's where all the famous crashes happen. But now slow again over the crest, over the rise. It's really difficult to get on the power here because the Mercedes getting a little bit skew with coming over there, and there it is.
Oh,
so easy. It's happened again.
Mercedes has gone round, and not for the first time today. Oh dear. Oh, and another incident. It's gone round again. The Porsche goes straight into the back of it. The Mercedes is down to nearly, well, it's almost last place. Jimmy, I don't believe it. What's gone wrong?
Let's have a look at this again now. We were saying how hard it is to get on the power here. I think he just touched the curb. Yes, he did. Send him into the rule to the right, and then tries to come back onto the circuit, hits the throttle again out of, I imagine, frustration. No, there he goes. Oh, it's the Ferrari and the Porsche. He sits on the racing line. What was he doing?
I just don't think he had time to get out of the way. I don't think he had time to get out of the way. I've got to defend Blaza. Sorry, it's Juros Rasic there in the car. I've got to defend Juros as, oh, what have we got going on here then? We've got a strong battle for 4th place. So Juros Rasic is in the car, not Patrick Blazan. Blazan will be out last and will be having a lot of work to do now.
Yes, we'll leave him to it, I think. I don't think he wants us to tell us how much work he has to do now, but now, here we are, Dottinger Hoa, slipstream battle. You saw that at Toyota, here it is again, McLaren. Nothing he can do against the Porsche in a straight line, sorry, the Toyota in a straight line, but once the Toyota comes back, of course, doing well after its grid penalty, now it is at the head of the train, now it is providing slipstream to the rest of the other cars. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, BMW and Renault going side by side, coming up now to the last part of the course. Very brave for the BMW. See the car squirming under brakes, going over the elevation, gets it slowed down. What a fantastic pass there by the BMW, but still going on behind Toyota. Now having a look at the McLaren. Not quite close enough. Porsche wants to get involved as well. Then we have 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th place, all within contention. We're going to see the Ferrari now peel off, even 9th in the background there. Mercedes coming back through. Wow, I'm running out of breath here, Chris.
Yeah, we've got 51 minutes of it left. Philippe Nicolai is in the BMW, in the Toyota. At the moment, we have Matteo Paolini, but the Italian is going to lose a place to the driver in the Porsche, is it? In the Porsche, we have Bruno Ferreira. Oh, who almost goes round. Well, if it weren't for the Subaru, I think that is, then I think we would have seen a spin there.
I think so too. I mean, that's a very difficult section to come through. 2 sharp hairpins.
Penalty.
The Ferrari choosing to save its penalty for the end of the next lap. I wouldn't have done that. I would have come in now. You wouldn't be in this traffic. You wouldn't be dealing with this. The Ferrari now have a great exit though, coming out the forecurve. So they go down to Dunlop, pulls to the inside. Can it get past Toyota on the inside? Oh, nearly contact. The last thing that Ferrari wants is another penalty. There's contact again. Touches the Toyota. That is surely going to be another penalty for the Ferrari. I don't know what's going on in that driver's head right now.
It's Benjamin Bader in the car, and unfortunately there could be another penalty being added, as here we go, the BMW and the Renault are side by side. Philippe Nicolai and Lewis Bentley. Well, Lewis Bentley, what a fantastic run he's having. He's not had the best of confidence so far this weekend as they now head down towards the chicane.
Yeah, hearing Lewis talk about his last race, he said he made up 6 positions in his stint. He was buzzing. I saw him. He was shaking when he came to us after the race. So now I think looking to cement that performance. Somebody went out of the Nations Cup very early, so looking to really prove himself here in the Manufacturers Series. BMW nearly sideways, and here it is on screen. Toyota and Porsche being investigated there. That's something we missed on track.
Well, we've been keeping the stewards very busy. If they hadn't done sim racing before and they thought they were going to have an easy weekend of it, they were very wrong. But Lewis Bentley, we're on board with him at the moment. Ahead of us is Philippe Nicolet, and Lewis Bentley is going to just probably, knowing Lewis, having spoke to him throughout the week, I think he'll just stick behind the BMW now, unless there's a real clear opportunity down the long straight to make a pass.
Well, we'll see, because Lewis was very happy with his pace on the Nordschleife, and the last thing you want around here is someone in front of you is lapping about 5 or 6 seconds a lap slow. You just sit there frustrated, frankly. But now coming down to the long run down to the end of the first sector, you see that the Renault is just deep in the slipstream of the BMW, coming over the crest now. This little left hand is very difficult. It's not quite flat on these tyres, not quite flat, and heavy braking downhill. Again, try and nibble that inside curve just a little bit, just a tiny bit. Don't let it push you around, but the BMW sideways off the corner there, and now the Renault again right up behind. This is where I was taken out of a recent race. Don't really overtake down here, and these pros have shown that you don't do that. Coming down to the compression again, that's when the car hits the floor hard. Wow, hit the curb. BMW hit the curb. Oh, is it going to keep it round? It just about gets it stopped. The BMW hitting the curb through there is a very bad idea, let me tell you that.
Well, in the BMW, we have Philippe Nicolet, as we said, 21 years old, started with GT2. So he's been doing it for a while. Of course, he's in the BMW, got some kart racing experience. The BMW is actually his favourite car, so not surprised to see him going so well. He said the weight very good on the car, but you have to be careful. On the throttle as the Ferrari is off. Well, the Ferrari had a penalty anyway. Jimmy, what did you make of this one then as they come round the left-hander? I think we're going to go, we've just turned away from it, but back to Philippe Nicolet. His advice to everyone, race clean and observe real races. He wanted to give a shout out to his mates, Leon, Luca and Maxi, who are racing here this weekend in the Classics, who we were watching earlier. Also in that battle, we said we have Lewis Bentley. Lewis, 20 years old, no real-life racing experience, so for him, he said, this GT Sport game, this competition has given him a chance to live out, something he's always wanted to do. And his advice to anyone at home looking to get in this position, practice as much as you can.
Now returning to the race, Mercedes moving up again after its interesting first lap, shall we say, but the Subaru isn't quite that happy of that. Nice run now coming up towards Bergwerk, Toyota and Porsche in front as well. We are going to see the car spread out as this race goes on. It is a long race, instead of an hour race, and we're seeing, we had the race organiser come up to us earlier and say 3 laps is possible on a set of tyres, but you have to be saving the entire time. Most drivers are going to only be able to manage 2. That's going to be a big difference in this race, I think.
Mercedes is in the wars once again. It's got the Subaru side by side, the Ferrari carrying yet another penalty is out, and the Mercedes is off again. The Mercedes is off and is down to 8th place. Well, once again,
I think something that I want to actually put up there is the Kai25 in our YouTube chat has said a lot of these guys are not on their standard equipment. In fact, a couple of people in this race came in and they came in the qualifiers with gamepads, with controllers.
Nicholas Arts being one of them, yes.
And they're still here and still performing very well with equipment that is not their own. So please take that into consideration when watching this. This is why these guys are the best in Europe.
Yeah. Like you said, when they first arrived, the first thing they have to do is get used to the equipment. After that, in the process, they've had to make sure that they get used to the atmosphere of the event, and also practice with matching the cars to the tracks that they're on, which they probably would have done at some point playing the game as much as they do anyway. But racing at this level is just a little bit different. On stage, in front of hundreds of people who are here to watch the Nürburgring 24-hour, here in the Ring Boulevard. And on board now we go with the Mercedes once again. Juros Vasic is out in the Mercedes at the moment.
See that Ferrari still yet to serve its penalty. And a reminder that it does have to serve the penalty at the end of this lap. If you are assigned a penalty by the stewards, you must serve it by the end of the next lap. So it'll be in this lap. Meanwhile, Porsche and Subaru coming through up to the right hand. Look at that Porsche getting loose now. Those tyres are going to start wearing at this point. And the last thing you want in the Nordschleife, worn tyres.
Yeah. Got to say, going back to Uros Drasic, something interesting about him. He did a track day at the Nordschleife back in 2007, so he's done this for real. Now he's racing it in the Gran Turismo World Tour. He started back in 2008, the 35-year-old from Slovenia says this a once-a-lifetime opportunity for him, and he wants to give a shout-out to his IRT teammates. But we must return to the racing because it is very close at the moment, Jimmy, between the Porsche and the Subaru.
Look how close these guys are. The Subaru just giving the Porsche enough room to pull away, putting a lot of pressure on this guy at the moment. Coming round now to the second carousel. Look at that great camera view there, seeing the exhaust on the right-hand side of the Subaru. The Porsche gets it a bit wrong coming out of second carousel. That allows Subaru just to slip through, but really he doesn't want to be there. We're coming on to the Dot and Jehoa now. If you're in front here, you're going to be the victim of slipstream. Watch this now. Porsche's going to just close into the back of that Subaru and ultimately just drive past him in a straight line because he doesn't have to push all the air out of the way as it's going down the straight. Here we go then. Great view there at the bottom of that Porsche.
That was Ed Williams making the move, and in the Porsche we have Bruno Ferreira, so two very good drivers who went well in the Nations Cup yesterday, going wheel to wheel, and Ferreira has gotten back in front then as they head down the long straight. Williams looks to be trying to go back to the inside in that Subaru, so two changes of position in one straight. Ed Williams, the 19-year-old, has just gotten back then into fourth place. Started the racing, the sim racing in 2014, as we now see some pit stops.
So here we are, first of the pit stops happening. Porsche coming in. Of course, we have 42 minutes to go in this race. It's an hour race in total, so we're probably going to be seeing a driver swap now for the Porsche. I think, let's have a look at my little schedule here. It will be Michael Kavika now getting into the car, the German driver. So out he goes now, nice slick pit stop for them, followed out by Toyota. McLaren, though, opting to stay out.
Yeah, they have indeed. Why would you say they have done that?
Possibly trying to save that extra lap at the end, of course. With there being 3 driver slots, it's unlikely that one of the stints has to be 3 laps, I think, at this point. They're saying 7 laps is about what they expect. That's when we were talking to the drivers earlier. So we'll just have to wait and see if that McLaren's going to suffer. Bear in mind, though, it's now going to be a worn tyre, so it's going to be a very slow lap from McLaren compared to the guys behind. Will they get the undercut? Ferrari gets another 1 second pit stop penalty. Now, what's that all about?
Dear. Well, what a shame for the Ferrari team. I believe out at the moment is Kamil Karski, or Karski is preparing to go out next, but that a real shame. A lot of teams now have come into the pit, but staying out, we have 3, the Nissan, the BMW, and the Subaru. So 3 teams yet to come in. As thanks to everyone who's tuning in. We've almost got 2,000 people tuning in as we see a change for Renault. But thanks for your company wherever you're watching from. You are joining us from the Nürburgring 24-hour race for the Gran Turismo World Tour. We are in the Ring Boulevard. If you are going to be joining us at the circuit, visit us and have a go on the rigs yourself. Tomorrow, do come and be here. Then you can tune in once again tomorrow for the Nations Cup final. But Jimmy, I think we had some questions coming in. If you have any questions for Jimmy, just send them in the comments, and we'll read those out for you.
We have one interesting question that I did want to answer, because I think it's quite important. Someone was questioning why the guys with gamepads were not allowed to use gamepads, and that isn't the case. They both declined. They both wanted to use wheels and do the same as everybody else. They had the opportunity, but said no. So that's that question answered for you guys.
So, well, we are on board with the Renault at the moment. Renault have indeed done their pit stop. So they've now handed over to Tarek Bushman. Tarek Bushman now in the car for them. The German driver facing down the driver out in the Porsche. So the Porsche have also handed over to their second driver, which is Michael Kassikert. As we are already approaching the half-race distance. This one is absolutely flown by.
It has. Oh, time flies when you're having fun. Look in the background there. See the sparks being kicked up for the Toyota as it's trying to chase down these guys behind. And Renault looks on the inside. Not quite close enough. Porsche covers him off there. Gets a better exit. Renault right up on the curbs there. Trying to eat those curbs for breakfast. I wouldn't be doing that on the exit, to be honest. The car gets very loose, but the Renault driver does a very good job of handling it. Meanwhile, just looking at my up screen, this time it's romping away as it's 10 seconds over the BMW now.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think Lewis Hamilton kind of summed it up perfectly. Just how realistic the game is and how much it pays attention to detail. And we were chatting with the Italian commentators last night about using the VR headset when playing GT Sport, and just how realistic and how mesmerising it is.
Yeah, I mean, of course, bear in mind now, look at this game. Can you imagine, look how beautiful this game is. I mean, like, objectively, this is a good-looking game. And seeing this happen, then seeing all the dust particles, the effects, and all I'm going on about the game, Porsche gets it wrong. Down to the right-hander. This is a very difficult downhill right here. But the Renault took the opportunity to get past and is by. But look at the Porsche now, all over the back of the gearbox of the Renault as we come through the fast left, right, now through miss, hit, miss. Will we see a similar mistake? Look at the Renault just charging away now. Look at that pace from that Renault.
Brilliant stuff from the Renault. Tarek Bushman now in the car. As we are approaching half-race distance, the Ferrari, guess what, has a penalty. I know it's no surprise given what's been going on in this race for that team. They've just not had the luck or that, or they've just not been at the races in this one. Some brilliant performances throughout the first race, but in this one, it's just not gone right for the Ferrari. The Porsche, another little mistake for them. The Audi there just struggling as another screen we have access to. You may not be able to see that one, but the Audi is unfortunately just struggling with coming out of the corners, it seems, at the moment. But Jimmy, I think you have another question.
Yeah, another question in chat there. This one from Eagle Arms 7NV. It's a very nice username you have there, Eagle. That question was, are those Logitech wheels being used? No, these are the Thrustmaster TGT wheels and pedal sets. And myself and Chris got to have a go on them the other day. They're very nice to use, and force feedback in the wheel is very good for sort of that style of wheel. Lots of buttons on there as well, plenty to choose from.
I was tired after one lap of the Nordschleife.
This guy isn't used to it, is he? He hasn't built up his arms yet. I'll have to let you have to teach you the ropes, I think.
I know. It was obviously used to doing kart driving in the past. It was. Yeah, it is very, very physically demanding when you've got everything set, and if you make as many mistakes as I did around the Nordschleife, then you are pretty tired by the end of it. So I think I wouldn't say I sympathise with these guys. I just appreciate how good they are, as the comments have been suggesting as well. There's the McLaren we are looking at now. In the car there is Joost de Haas. We've been speaking to Joost quite a lot over the weekend. Very, very nice guy, Joost, but he's loving this experience, isn't he? He's one of the drivers that hasn't stopped smiling all weekend.
A very chatty driver, and I remember when we first sat down next to him after one of these sessions, and immediately started talking to us about the race, how much he's enjoying it. We almost didn't have to ask him any questions. He told us everything pretty much as it was. But just looking at the Porsche now, where's the Renault gone? Did the Porsche make a mistake? That Renault is 12 seconds up the road. Surely that's not, sorry, 16, 17 seconds in the road. Is that pace?
No, he's 2 seconds back, no?
Oh, no, sorry, apologies. I'm looking at the gap for the McLaren. I was like, hello, that's a bit much. But
it would have been, yeah.
But the Renault is still pulling away, so a good job. Just on your screen there, graphic in the top right, you're seeing we're using 3 times fuel usage and 3 times tyre wear. So Ferrari makes a move on the Toyota for 7th place, yet to serve its penalty, its second penalty at this point. The Ferrari's race has one certificate already. We're halfway through. I don't see them coming back from this.
Just enjoy the last half an hour, I think it's fair to say. Of course, in that Ferrari team, we have Kamil Karski. The Polish driver is out on track at the moment. Quite an interesting character is Kamil Karski. He does a lot of drifting. He is obsessed with drifting, and he does it in real life as well.
That makes me laugh, because we came up to the hospitality suite after we were racing here, and and he was drifting an AMG GT3 car around the Nürburgring GP circuit. I had to take a double take of that, so that's pretty decent. I want to just very quickly answer one more question, if you don't mind, Chris.
Of course.
We had a question from GT Series Videos asking how were the drivers chosen for this event. Now, the drivers are basically invited, but the invitations are based on their driver ratings. So essentially, we have the best drivers' ratings in Europe here.
However, the maximum of 5 from each country.
Yes. So we had a couple of, we had a maximum of 5 Brits, because of course we're always in the top half motorsport of Brits, aren't we? Although I'll leave that gloating for now. We have another pit stop coming in. This is the Nissan, our leader, coming in now, so taking its first stop. Interestingly enough, that Nissan almost went half the race without having to pit. So that'll be another driver getting in now. Second driver.
That's Marcus Connonen.
So Marcus Connonen, another quick fin, although I'm not quite sure there doesn't exist a fin that isn't quick in a racing car. So he leads out from the pits now. So even after the pit stop, of course, with Subaru behind, McLaren are still in for their second stop. I think they had a penalty, yes they did, of course. Renault in. So the gaps you see on screen are the gaps they are on track with pit stops done. BMW 9 seconds back from Nissan. Renault has closed the gap to only 2 seconds now. So the Renault coming back into contention again.
Yes, the Renault is indeed, and good info on the question. Thanks for sending these questions. They are really useful for not just, of course, yourself to get answered, but for the rest of the viewers as well. So if there's anything you have any questions about, send them in. Jimmy Broadbent will answer them for you. We've got a replay coming up now, which is the Renault. Oh, was that an off for the BMW almost? It was the BMW running very, very wide, slowing up out the corner. So that's a change for second place now.
We were saying earlier on how difficult those two little hairpins are. I think the BMW just got a little bit loose, and as a result found it very difficult to then come off the corner. Now we have the Renault up into second place. Subaru and McLaren together on circuit as well at the moment. Subaru coming back up the order. McLaren slow on the exit of Dunlop now on the curb. Now coming up the Schumacher rest. Probably wisely not going side by side up here. Now this is very difficult. That curb on the inside, we saw a couple of people in practice yesterday hitting that curb on the left of the Schumacher S and spinning into the inside wall. So you have to be careful of the curbs in this game.
You do indeed. So there is the Subaru change for second, as we said. The Renault now into second place. Out in the Renault at the moment is Tarek Bushman. So down towards the chicane we go. The McLaren ahead of us. Of course, Eustace Haas and Martin Grady, the second two drivers to come out after the first driver, which was Francesco Mangano, the Italian. Going back to, we were talking a bit about Kamil Karski, the Polish driver. He's only been racing on GT Sport for half a year. Doing drifting, he's done it for about 4.5 years. So very, very impressive skill when it comes to that. The 22-year-old from Poland, as we return back to the race, and we will almost be calling it the halfway point in this race if we can't do already, as it's still close here between the McLaren and the Subaru. It's very interesting to see the race going through its different phases now. A race is almost like a film sometimes, how it plays out. We have a very, very hectic start, then we have a phase in the middle which everything sorts itself out, and then at the end sometimes a lot of drama, and of course a happy ending to the film for the eventual winner of the race.
Well, there's actually a term for that. I said equilibrium, disequilibrium, equilibrium, which is very hard to say. Great for a commentator to practice his commentating, I guess. At the moment we're sort of in the calm phase, taking that calm. Subaru going off in a place where he would not want to go off. Fifth gear corner there, very fast, and just got it onto the outside. Luckily able to gather it up. This is our closest fight on track, but just behind these guys, look, the Mercedes is coming back into contention after that awful start, looking to try and make up some time now.
Now, the Mercedes has only stopped the once, which means Sander Dirksen is in the car, but Patrick Blazan is going to be preparing himself somewhere. When do they put Blazan in that car?
I think they put him in the final stint.
Clearly they do, but how soon?
Well, okay, well, if I were that team now, I'd put him in. Oh, hello, sorry, just a little bit of a distraction now. I thought the Subaru was going to run the McLaren off the circuit. Well, that's how close they were.
It wouldn't be a surprise given the race we've had, but Blazan's going to want the maximum amount of time in that car now as he possibly can, given what's happened at the start of the race.
Whether he'll be able to impose himself after the last race or something. Mercedes looks to the outside, no space there, Mr. Mercedes, comes back onto the circuit, just about avoids contact with a Subaru. That's the last thing that Mercedes needs. It's just been in the wars this race. It needs to calm down, try and get past these guys without incident, and then get on with it. Every time I've seen this car try and overtake, there's been contact. Speaking of which, Subaru wide.
Yeah, Subaru wide. Mercedes gets closer once again as we head through the left-right-hander, and here we go, and the Mercedes is going to go for a move, and unsurprisingly contact. Jimmy, arms in the air, what was he thinking?
I think
was the expression there.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of this race. It's disappointing to see, of course. I think nerves just coming in now. If you're in that Mercedes camp, you're aware you're running in 6th position, you're aware half the race has elapsed, and you're nowhere near the start.
I was going to say though, they've only got about 3 laps per driver, say, right? This is a Nordschleifer. There's not many. Oh, and the McLaren. Oh, in contact. Well, the McLaren and the Subaru going wheel to wheel there. The Subaru emerges in the lead, and the Mercedes is off once again. Well, is the Mercedes going to make this place? Replay coming up, I believe. Oh, they're still side by side. And there was another off, Jimmy, I think you spotted there. We'll come back to it as the Mercedes now going past the Subaru.
Yeah, we did, and
Is that the Renault off?
Yeah, look in the distance, that's the Renault, that's what we saw on our other screen. The Renault spun, it was in 2nd position, it's now lost it to the BMW, and it's now in this pack of cars. So we've got 3 cars together now. Even though the Subaru's slightly at the back, this is going to hot up for 3rd place here.
Yeah, 4 for the last space on the podium. You'd have to say at this moment in time, the Nissan and the BMW look safe as the Mercedes is making me very nervous once again. McLaren getting closer to the Renault. Oh, well, this is going to be a very, very interesting end to this race as we approach the 2nd round of stops. Now, it says the McLaren has actually done 2 stops.
Penalty.
That was one of them was a penalty, so they've actually only done 1 stop, really.
I mean, I think that sums up Mercedes' race there. The scuffs on the side of that car is it's really being very forceful. It's not going to look at the inside of the carousel, is it? No, it doesn't. Probably one of the most clever decisions it's made this race. Now up behind the McLaren, nice and close. You can't really do much for the carousel other than follow the guy in front. Now this last half of the course, this last third of the course, sorry, isn't really for overtaking unless you're a lot faster than the guy in front, but that isn't stopping this AMG all over the back onto the grass again to try and overtake. I don't know what there's going to be a big crash very soon for that AMG.
It's just all going to go wrong, isn't it? Sandor Dirksen is getting very, very impatient here. Oh, it gets nerfed up the back there. Well, so the Subaru has gone right into the back of the Mercedes. Did the right thing by backing off and letting the Mercedes keep the place.
Yeah, flash of the lights there, I think maybe to apologise to the Mercedes. Let's have another look at that. Mercedes, I think that's on the Subaru, I think.
Yeah, I just don't know what the Subaru was thinking there. Out for the Subaru. At the moment, we have Manuel Rodriguez, of course, a very, very feisty driver, Rodriguez, but I'm not too sure exactly what Rodriguez was looking for there. The move was never going to be on. And it's just, and there we go.
Oh, now that'll be interesting. I sort of hope we don't see a penalty here for the Subaru, given that 1, he slowed down, and 2, the Mercedes has been putting moves like that the entire race and has yet to receive a penalty.
That's a good point.
Oh, there you go, there's just as off he goes. Subaru follows him. Subaru spun round as well. Subaru,
big incident here. Once again, the Subaru and the Mercedes are round. The Subaru is pretty much out, is tumbling down the order. Let's have a look at the replay. They go through the left. Let's see, is it a mistake on the Mercedes' part, or is it the Subaru as well? Oh, well, Mercedes made a mistake and Subaru's just followed him in.
Yeah, pretty much the bit of target fixation there for the Subaru, just looking at the guy in front, following his line, and then just followed him off the circuit. And unfortunately, he lost out big time because he spun. Mercedes somehow recovered, but now the fight for 3rd is down to only 2 cars. The Renault, who was in 2nd place, and the McLaren, the battle-scarred McLaren, of course. Oh, wow, those tyres are already worn. Down the straight now, right onto the grass. For instant slipstream, won't matter being that slow now. Let's see what sort of front this Renault has. Can it keep the McLaren at bay down this long, 2-kilometre long straight? No, it can't. McLaren has the slipstream, pulls to the outside. That very memorable engine note there from the McLaren as it now pulls the Renault down the straight. We're coming into now a very difficult section. There is time to overtake down here. I wouldn't recommend it. We've seen the BMW do it on the Renault a couple of laps ago. Let's see if they stay line and stern round here. Very bumpy. Look at the cars move around there into the braking zone.
Well, Sandor Dirksen is out in that Mercedes, and Sanders actually raced here at the Nordschleife for 8 years in a row, for the last 8 years in his Honda Civic Type R, as into the pits comes the BMW. The BMW now making their second and final stop, which will put into the car Anthony Duval, the Frenchman who now making their second and final stop, which will put into the car Anthony Duval, the Frenchman who won his semi-final yesterday.
That feels like it's a little early for me. We feel up to the end. Will they make it to the end on that? I'm not sure they're planning to do a third stop or not, but we'll have to wait and see. BMW out.
Patrick Blazan's going to want to get out now in that Mercedes.
Yeah, if Duval's in the car, then Blazan wants to get in as well. Let's see if he pits. He is pitting. So Mercedes
There we go. There we go. We were expecting that move to come very, very shortly. And Patrick Blazan, the Hungarian, is about to jump in the Mercedes to try and salvage a podium for what has been a race that you would not have been able to predict. There's the, well, we can see the Nissan on one of our screens, and the Nissan, I can tell you, still very, very comfortable in a comfortable lead at the moment. As you can see, most teams have now done their second stop. We're on board at the moment with the Porsche and the Toyota as well. The Nissan out front by 25 seconds at the moment, yet to take that second stop, Jimmy, as we now head up through the left-right-hander, and very shortly we'll be on to the Nordschleife once again.
Look how close these guys are now. These are guys who were not together through the pit stops. Now we have different drivers, a fresh set of eyes, fresh set of legs, back into the car, as you'd say in football, fresh set of legs, I'd say. But now the Toyota all over the back of the Porsche. This isn't really an overtaking spot on the GP layout, or sorry, on the endurance layout, because it's very fast. Audi getting another 1 second penalty. Toyota around the outside. Wow, what a move round the outside of the Porsche, like it was standing still.
Another penalty for the Audi, I'm afraid to say, and that's not for the first time this race. So
we have Lenoir now in the car for the Toyota. So that's one of the he was one of the fastest qualifiers, second fastest qualifier from yesterday. So we expect to see some pace from him. Just before we get into that, I want to answer one more question chat I have seen from Tony Sanford, who asks, is anything else different to the live version of the game other than the tyre model? I mean, aside from these camera views you're seeing now, I believe not. I wouldn't be the best person to clarify that, but I can confirm that the tyre model is different. Whether that is coming to the game soon, I am unsure. But yeah, running a different tyre model, and of course, these angles you don't get in game. But otherwise, the game is what you guys have at home.
perfect stuff. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Keep your questions coming in. We still have over 20 minutes to go, so we can take much more questions. Send any in you have, and we'll have Jimmy Broadbent answer them. Thanks for tuning in as ever. Myself, Chris McCarthy, Jimmy Broadbent. Pleasure to be covering the first Gran Turismo World Tour event of 2018 here from the Nürburgring 24-hour. Make sure you tune in tomorrow as well, as we will have the... oh, sorry, I was getting a little bit distracted because the McLaren's had a spin. Oh, the McLaren in second place was at a half spin, and the Toyota's gone into him. And now, going into third place, is the Porsche. The Porsche into third place.
Wow, that was brave down there. I said earlier, it's not really an overtaking spot. The Porsche team are very keen to prove me wrong now, coming up the hill. Watch the curb and inside. See how the car is unsettled there. Porsche goes in a bit hot, but Toyota is still there. Lenoir will not be happy with that. I can actually see him in his seat, a bit of a shake of the head there. But the McLaren now leading this pair. This is for second place here. So for 2 places in the podium, and Nissan, by the way, has just checked out. Half a minute on the rest of the field.
Yet to take the second stop.
Not yet, no, that's a very good point. Yet to take the second stop. So if these guys can keep going, McLaren and Toyota instant coming in, I don't think we'll see anything out of that, because McLaren came back onto the circuit, didn't really give Toyota anywhere to go. But again, I'm not a steward.
There we go. We are the commentators, and we are those for a reason. The McLaren, in the McLaren, by the way, is Martin Grady. In the Porsche at the moment, we have Fabien Gaillard. And in the Toyota, we have, of course, Pierre Lenoir, as Jimmy was touching on there. So Grady and Lenoir, of course, went very, very well yesterday. Oh, and we've got a pit stop penalty for the Mercedes. Race over for the Mercedes if it wasn't already, and a mistake from the Porsche there as well.
I'm unsure what that penalty was for. It might have been for... And McLaren gets a penalty for the rejoin. For the rejoin, I think that was.
Oh, I don't believe it. Well, big drama here at the Gran Turismo World Tour. In second place in the Manufacturers' Cup final, the McLaren has just received a pit stop penalty. Jimmy, how much time will they lose from that?
Well, bear in mind that you're pitting in a non-scheduled pit stop. You're going down the straight here.
Let's look at it one more time.
Let's have a look. What happens
Is this
here.
it?
Sorry, this is not the replay. Sorry, this is live now. That's a Porsche going off.
Yes, I think that. Oh,
Well,
well.
that's live. Porsche goes off there, coming
Right.
out and loses the position. Does it? Sorry. No, here's the replay. So now we've got the replay. Sorry about that, guys. See, Porsche getting on that curb. I've done that so many times in Sims. I can't tell you how frustrating it is. And the thing is, you lose time all the way up this straight.
And you can go and speak to Fabian Gaillard about that after the race, because unfortunately he has just done the same as well. What do you make of that penalty? To me, it seems a bit harsh.
I don't know. I mean, the McLaren, we've had a bad rejoin already this race, and there was no penalty for that, so a bit of consistency lacking from the stewards there. However, that word is law, and the McLaren, which would be in a good position maybe to have a look at the Nissan when it comes back out of the pits, now unfortunately is not. But now, so it's going to be really Toyota, Porsche and Nissan really realistically with 20 minutes to go are the three cars in contention for the win of this race, and of course the Manufacturer Cup.
That said, though, I say it's a bit harsh. At the drivers' briefing at the very beginning of the weekend, they did say we are going to be strict, very, very strict on driver standards, racing, incidents. They did say that not only to drivers, we listened into that briefing as well, and they were very clear. We're going to be very, very strict. It's going to be much more strict than usual. Be wary of that. Race clean and race fair and enjoy it. But unfortunately, the incidents that there have been have forced the stewards to put in one or two penalties.
Does indeed. The McLaren, even with his penalty, defending and getting sideways, more contact with the Toyota there. That allows the Porsche to come back into the fray. McLaren just about hold that together. Porsche comes in, tags Toyota.
Well, the Toyota's in the barrier. Well, the Toyota got away with absolute murder there. How did they keep going?
I don't know. I mean, that all started with the McLaren there, just hogging the middle of the road after making a mistake. Porsche and Toyota had nowhere really to go, came together, and now more contacts. The McLaren gets a bit of breathing room. It's going to, of course, losing place when it comes into the pit stop. But this is continuing to be an absolutely fantastic, dramatic race to watch.
This was far from what I expected. I expected a race that would quickly settle down and would be just about strategy. It's been far from that. It's been about the racing. It's been about who can stay out of trouble. It's been about who can make their moves, but also make their moves cleanly, fairly, and without losing too much time. Under investigation, the Toyota and the Porsche. Well, the BMW could be picking up a podium if Toyota and Porsche if either of them get a penalty. The McLaren already has a penalty. If one of them gets a penalty, third place could be going the way of the BMW.
So this race is far from over with just over 17 minutes to go. McLaren will likely be in this lap, or maybe next lap, we're not sure. Nissan, I think, will come in this lap and hand off to their last driver, which is Tom McPherson, of course, who took the car to the victory at Monza. A safe pair of hands, I think, there in Tom. But he's got a big gap. We'll see how much of a gap he has after they pit in. But on the straight here, looks like the Toyota either not trying to pass or just soft on the throttle there, maybe saving a little bit of fuel. Maybe. Of course, these guys do have control over fuel maps, I believe, at this point, so there is a little bit of strategy there. McLaren there passed by the Porsche on the straight, not a big deal in the straight line. Will the McLaren come back in the braking zone? No, I think decides better of it, knows it's got a penalty. Nissan in the pit, so right, here we are, Porsche, this should be it now. No more stop, well, Porsche coming in now for a last stop. Okay, there's been a lot of penalties in this race, it's hard to keep up with, isn't it?
Yeah, McPherson is going to jump in the Nissan, and are they going to come out in the lead?
I think so at this point. We've had the guys behind them come in at the same time. BMW has gone past the line, so we're just seeing them all come in now. Just watching the same graphic you guys are, so we're getting an idea of where they are. BMW is up into second place though at this point. Interesting enough, the fastest lap belongs to the Renault of an 8:26.
There's a lot of pit stops going on.
So Nissan out in first. Nissan's out in first, and now that is Tom to the end now.
Yeah, Tom McPherson in the car to the end of the race. Let's just wait a second till this settles down a bit. We need to just... Oh, a move coming out the pit lane. Oh, I've never seen that happen before. And the Toyota... Oh, it's all gone wrong. The Toyota and the McLaren making contact, and it's all gone wrong there. I don't know what they were thinking. I honestly don't know what they were thinking.
These are two of the best competitors. Here it is again. McLaren gets it wrong. Actually turns in on the Toyota on the first corner, then just spears it going into the second one.
Dear.
In my opinion, that's on the McLaren, of course. Again, not a steward. I think I've said that a lot this race so far. But that's on the McLaren, and I no doubt we'll see a penalty. That Toyota. Look how bashed and bruised that is at this point. That is the result of the green hell right there.
It's been to hell and back, as some of the drivers may have said. And there we go. We have an incident involving McLaren and Toyota under investigation. They had around 16, 17 minutes to sort themselves out. Have you ever seen, tell me now, not just sim racing, racing plural, have you ever seen someone go for a move on another driver coming out the pit lane?
Yes, it's.
Really?
I would not recommend it though. It's
really?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of theories taken not to do that. But the guys as well, questions to you in chat. I mean, I'm here as a sim racer and as a racing enthusiast. This is some of the best racing I've seen in a long time. Maybe I'm biased because I'm commentating on it and I'm really enjoying it. Hopefully you guys are too. If you are enjoying the stream, make sure to hit the old like button on there.
Yes.
It'd be great to get to 1,000 likes before the end. There's nearly 2,000 of you guys here, so thank you all for joining us. Let us know if you're enjoying this event. Let Gran Turismo know if you want to see more, and maybe we'll get more.
Yeah, let us know where you're watching from as well. It'd be great to hear. No, we've got viewers coming in from worldwide, but let us know exactly where you're watching from. Of course, we are here in Germany in the Nürburgring. Local time at the moment is just coming up to 5:30. So that's the time where we are. Let us know exactly where you are. Right. Is the Nissan being caught by the BMW?
It does seem that way. I think now that everyone has completed their stops. I mean, of course, we've had a lot of penalties, so it's kind of hard to keep up with the penalties on our graphic, unfortunately. But the BMW, if our graphic is to be believed, and bear in mind that gap was quite a bit bigger before Nissan pitted, the BMW is now only 6 seconds off Tom McPherson in that Nissan GTR.
Well, let's just have a quick breather and a quick run through of what's happened. Oh no, we're not going to have time because the Toyota going for 5th place. Oh, what a move that was. I think that's one of the best moves we've seen this race. The Toyota going into 5th place, Jimmy. That a fantastic move. They got it absolutely spot on there. Pierre Lenoir, no surprise, in the car, pulls that one off perfectly.
Look at them absolutely muscling its way past. Let's have another look at it then. So the Porsche goes to the inside the circuit, then pulls over to the right. Lenoir goes, I'm going to have that, mate. Goes up the inside, right on the curb as well. I can't really tell you guys, it's hard to see. You touch that curb, the car becomes very unsteady, but Lenoir, nope, throttle through.
That was fantastic racing. Pierre Lenoir, take my hat off to you. I did it yesterday, I do it again. What a fantastic move. Of course, he had the devastation of not making it through to the Nations Cup final. Well, we're gonna have something to remember him by, even if it's just that move alone. So let's now try and have a run through of the positions. The Nissan, Jimmy, leads by 5 seconds.
Gap coming down.
The gap coming down. The Renault is in 3rd place. 8 seconds either side of them. In 4th place, we have the Mercedes with Blazan in the car trying to close down the Renault. And in the Renault at the moment, we have Loris Garnier. Then it's the Toyota who's being hassled by the Porsche, the McLaren, the Subaru, and at the back of the field, 2 teams that have been in the wars, Ferrari and Audi. What do you think? What's going to happen? I mean, it's the impossible question, but the race far from over. I think the battle for the lead imminent.
I think if we're assuming, and I think rightly assuming, that BMW has done its stops now, it's finished end of the race. Well, bear in mind it's going to be very difficult on tyres at the end because it's going to be on its tyres a lot longer than Nissan.
Yeah.
But this gap is coming down very, very quickly indeed. Now again, Tom McPherson in the Nissan will know that. He'll see that on his screen. That is enough to get up, to maybe intimidate the driver in front. Tom was very clean and very calm, I would say, in the Monza race. So looking for that again now. But the BMW driver now, I'm sure, is just aching to get into that 1st position, even if it's only for a lap, just to show that it's capable of how close, how hard Tom is pushing that Nissan at the moment.
Yeah, he is on the edge, and Tom McPherson, will he be able to see the gap is coming down? I wonder. Tom McPherson doing the best he can, pushing really, really hard here, but unfortunately he is being caught by the BMW, who have Anthony Duval behind the wheel at the moment. And at the moment, the gap is now less than 4 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming down all the time, coming down all the time. So we're here only 3.5 seconds now, and I really think that this is where you make up your time. If you know this circuit, you make it up to the last typical. Look in the distance, there is a Nissan there, visually on your screen. That's how much that's come down. This gap was about 8 seconds at the start of the lap. It's now down to only 3. 5 seconds this lap alone. Look at the BMW, really pushing through here. This is fantastic driving.
This is what we are here for. The Gran Turismo World Tour, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it is all about. The Nordschleife, 10 minutes to go, and we have 30 of the best drivers taking part in this race. 2 of those about to battle for the lead for their respective teams. Nissan versus BMW. The Nissan yesterday was picked 3rd, the BMW was picked 4th. So 2 cars that were rated pretty highly and very evenly matched, you think?
Yes, definitely, and we had, it was just to go over the process again, the drivers were allowed, for the top qualifiers were allowed to pick the car they wanted. We had the Nissan, the BMW and the Renault, which again was one of the last cars to be picked, ninth car to be picked there, running up in 3rd position. So even though these guys have preferences, it just shows how close these guys are together and how close the cars are, and also how much driver input helps. People were saying the Nissan was just romping away, but now look, the BMW catching him like it's nothing.
I'll tell you what, in the comments, let us know which car you would have gone for. Let's get a bit of a poll going.
Yeah, okay.
I want to see what the most popular car is. If you're watching, just put the one word: Nissan, BMW, Renault, Mercedes, Toyota, Porsche, McLaren, Subaru, Ferrari, Audi. Let us know, and let us know why if you want to as well.
How about you, Chris? What would you go for?
I have no idea. I would have gone for the Mercedes.
I would have gone for the Nissan because, well, anyone who watches me knows that I'm a massive Nissan fanboy. Of course, hiding it a bit from the broadcast, trying to be as objective as possible. Speaking of which, Nissan is being passed for the BMW on the slipstream. This is for the lead of the race with just over 8 minutes to go. Side by side, then down the straight. Has the Nissan got the grunt? No. Back into the slipstream of the BMW now underneath the Bellstein Bridge, coming downhill. Nissan goes to the inside. Oh, very close there. Tom thinking about it, but not quite. Now, again, another opportunity to overtake here on the braking, but the BMW has been absolutely superior, just touches the grass on the way and gets it slowed down up into 1st. Now, will the BMW peel off into the pit lane? Let's find out. Oh, good run from Nissan off the last corner, though. Will the BMW block?
It's defending, surely.
It's not going to be able to do it.
Well, the Nissan is in the lead once again, but the BMW switching back to the slipstream, and I think this is going to be the last lap. So here we go, down towards turn number 1, and the BMW trying to go all the way around the outside. Well, an hour's racing at the Nordschleife, but would we expect it to come down to the last lap? Someone was coming into the pits there. There was a pit crew preparing. The Mercedes, who was in 3rd place, has a penalty, which means Toyota should gain that place. It was Renault who have come into the pit lane. So now Mercedes are back on the podium.
They are at the moment, and they still need to serve the penalty before the end of the race. Of course, they are the rules, and if this is the final lap, that's not going to happen. We've got a massive crowd here now gathering. When we started this, there were lots of people here. I looked up all of a sudden after looking at this monitor, and they seem to have multiplied. There are hundreds of people now watching this event live, and nearly 2,000 of you watching this exciting climax here to the 60-minute race here at the Nordschleife Gran Turismo Sport, putting on a fantastic show. And by the way, guys, of course, as I said before, if you're liking the stream, make sure to let us know. Hit the like button, do all the good social media things.
I can see some comments. Nissan, Renault's come up a few times in the comments. Interesting to see, but a few Nissan comments that keep letting us know. Renault's coming in once again. But here we go up to the chicane for the last time, where myself and Jimmy were actually watching the classics go around earlier, which was a fascinating experience. But here we go, last lap of the Manufacturers' Cup at the Gran Turismo World Tour here at the Nürburgring 24 Hour. We are in the Ring Boulevard as the crowd gather in huge numbers to watch on the humongous screen we have above the rigs. You can see it from a mile off. The word has got round, Jimmy, what we have going on this weekend, and people have come in their hundreds to watch.
And it's great to see that any sort of sim can bring this audience. I'm a big advocate for sim racing. I love to see people get involved and to see so many people watching intently at a race that, after all, is just basically simulated You wouldn't think that, would you? The excitement is real. The excitement is real, the adrenaline is real, and that's what is important here. It doesn't matter if it's a simulated race, I'm here, I'm on my feet. Really enjoying myself here, but the BMW now right on the back of the Nissan coming up to the Flugplatz. Nothing you can really do through here. What's on the run going to be down like to this slower right-hander? No, Nissan's got a bit of a gap now. Tom pulled up a tiny bit of a gap there.
So we believe it is, we're being told we believe it is the last lap then. The Nissan there, as you said, being caught by the BMW. Tom McPherson is in the Nissan, and in the BMW we have Anthony Duval. So we're just waiting on confirmation whether this will be the last lap, and indeed it is. So we've now been confirmed by the race directors that this is the last lap of the manufacturer's final. This is it, all or nothing. There's not been a point system. This is it, winner takes all. Will it be Nissan? Will it be BMW? Or will they take each other out and Mercedes pick up the pieces?
I mean, we have a long way left of the lap to go, but luckily for McPherson there in that GTR, it is quite a hard place to overtake around here, as you've already seen. The BMW, though, is absolutely glued to the back of this and ready to pounce at any slight mistake now. Coming into the second half of the circuit, this is where the BMW was fast last time through. I think Tom now maybe is a little bit more up to speed, seems a bit more feisty, but that Nissan, you can see it both metaphorically and physically, it's big, it's a large car.
Yes.
It's going to be hard to get past.
It's all going to come down to that straight, isn't it? We've seen cars pass each other twice down that straight. Not just once, twice. And I think once was even 3 times. So where do you want to be? Do you want to be behind going onto that straight? Do you want to be in front? Does it matter?
If I were the BMW right now, I'd be trying to line up for the last straight unless an opportunity presents itself. Before BMW slides, it slides. No. It loses some time, but I think it's going to be okay. The BMW's had pace. Here's a replay of it here. It just gets onto the curb on the inside, just trying a bit too hard. Good save though, good save. But that's not what he would have wanted. That would have shook him up a little bit.
Yes. I'll tell you what, that would have brought the red mist on now. The red mist descends of Anthony Duval in the BMW, as now he's just got to give it all or nothing. He made that mistake, so any nerves of making a mistake, then they have to be gone now. Go for it. McPherson, meanwhile, what's he going to be thinking now? Is he going to be making slight mistakes? Is it too good to be true, I wonder, is what he's thinking as they make their way now. How much of the lap do we have left to go, do you reckon, Jimmy?
We are about halfway through the lap right now, so about 3.5 minutes left. We're coming up a very long back straight. This is great for slipstream up here because, again, the Nissan, being the big box that it is, pretty much moves all the air in front of you out of the way, so you haven't got to deal with that air resistance. Look at the gap coming down, 3 tenths now.
So you can see, if you look at the track map to the right of screen, oh, well, we'll come back to that because the BMW is right with the Nissan once again. Is it going to try for the lead? Just to remind you, this is the final lap of the Manufacturers' Cup, and this for the race win. Nissan versus BMW, and BMW takes the lead. BMW takes the lead then. What a fantastic move, but the race is not over yet. Nissan now has to fight back.
Now Tom needs to be on the back of this BMW. He needs to stay there now. We saw how fast the BMW driver was through the last section. He needs to stay there now. If he can't, the race is over, but we still have half a second in it. Tom has improved on his second lap. Let's see what he can get out of that GTR. It's over!
Oh, it's over! Race over! Nissan's gone round, that's the race over. Done and dusted. BMW's going to take the win.
Wow, Tom will be absolutely, I can see him shaking his head in the rig. He just got on the grass. I think he was spooked. He was just trying to stay on the back of that BMW, pushed too hard, and there it is. Pretty much decided now is our winner, the BMW. Although saying that, he still has to get to the end of the lap. This is not your average racetrack.
Yeah, the tyres are going to be shot, aren't they? Just give us an idea, how hard is it going to be to drive the tyres now?
Almost like being on ice here, and then we have a battle for third coming in. The Mercedes with the penalty, though, and Toyota right on the back of it. That Mercedes seems to serve that penalty.
Well, yeah, the podium is not yet complete. What do we reckon? That's got to be a Mercedes that's got to have to back off down the straight. So effectively, the Toyota's got a podium, no?
I think it might be a pit stop penalty. I'm unsure here, but we'll stay with it. We'll call it like we see at this point. But the Toyota's still on the back of that Mercedes. Oh, man, I can't help but feel for the Nissan team, leading the entire race, but not when it matters.
That's it. It's about when you cross the line. And in the car of the BMW, Anthony Duval. Starting the race was Philippe Nicolet. Matt Thomas took over for the second stint, and ending the stint and ending what could be a fantastic Manufacturers' Cup final to take the checkered flag will be, of course, in the BMW, Anthony Duval's. Yes, we're now over 2,000 people watching this one live. Thanks to all of you, from myself, Chris McCarthy, Jimmy Broadbent, and everyone here at the Nürburgring, Jimmy. But here we go. Race still not over. Third place still yet to be decided.
The last couple of corners now, Toyota is in the prime position here to get the Mercedes on the straight. This is for the podium position at this point. Coming through the second carousel, up now to the last corner. This is the important one. This is your run onto the straight here. So what can the Toyota do? It's going to have the slipstream. We've seen the Toyota not being particularly fast in a straight line to this point, even struggling so much in the slipstream. Let's have a look now. Watch that gap. You can see the gap coming down on your graphic there. 0.3 a second. There it is. Oh, staying about. No, he is gaining very slightly. Actually, I'm not sure. No, he is coming in now. The Mercedes lifting off, serving that penalty, it seems, at the end, I think, or maybe just letting the Toyota through. I'm not sure what sort of penalty that Mercedes has. In the background, the Renault is there. Is it going to pick up? But anyway, meanwhile, BMW comes across. This is going to be the win for them.
Here they come up to the line after an hour's racing. The BMW with Anthony Duval behind the wheel takes the win, and the BMW team going absolutely wild. What a fantastic race. They can't believe it. BMW take the win, Nissan takes second, and the Toyota's going to be third. They're having to defend slightly, but Pierre Lenoir is going to bring the Toyota home in third place. What a race. I'm out of breath, Jimmy. That was a fantastic show. The whole crowd applauding. They're all on their feet. They enjoyed that one. We enjoyed that one. No doubt the viewers enjoyed that one. What a fantastic race from the BMW.
And what a story that is for BMW. Of course, one of the drivers came here as a gamepad driver. And here he is on the wheel, taking the Manufacturers' Cup there, beating out everyone else. What a fantastic display by everyone here, of course. The Green Hell, one of the most difficult circuits in the world. And the BMW team absolutely mastered it.
Well, what a result. They can't believe it. And Matt Thomas, as you said, qualified through via a pad. So he uses a controller usually. That an absolutely fascinating race. That blew away all expectations for me. To confirm the rest of the order, the Renault was 4th place, the Porsche was 5th, 6th was Mercedes, McLaren was 7th, Subaru 8th, there's the Audi which will be 9th, and the Ferrari will be 10th. The team now gathering with Matza, who will shortly be interviewing them. How are they going to have words after that one? Fantastic racing.
Well, no, the best bit before we come back to our host here is that we have more racing tomorrow.
Yes, Nations Cup final up tomorrow. We'll talk more about that in a sec. Do tune in for that. We'll bring you all the details as soon as we can. It will be live tomorrow night, though. But the team now with Matza, we are going to hand over to him very, very shortly.
What a race, ladies and gentlemen. I'm totally exhausted, and I was just the viewer. Big credits to our commentators. They were awesome in straight talking about 1 hour. And this is the winning team. Please give it up for Matthew Thomas, Philippe Nicolai, and Anthony Duval as the BMW team. Crazy. The whole race was amazing, but the last 10 minutes were outstanding. How did you feel it?
Well, I would like to thank my teammates because we start P10, so I don't think anyone in this place think we will win the race. So thanks to my teammate, and after I know that he will make mistakes, so I push him to vote, and I tried the only opportunity I have, I took it. So it's great.
Yeah, everybody was so really excited about this fight in the last few minutes. It was really, really awesome. So thank you for being here, for racing for us, for making Gran Turismo great. And we will see each other at the podium in a short break.
Jimmy, where do we start? Where do we start?
Well, I've not yet caught my breath, but here are your standings here for the race. BMW team victorious. As you see them jumping up and down after the race. Of course, our small little interview there with our host Matza. But Nissan, the choke. That's all I can say at that point. Really a big shame to see them go off and lose that win after being in the lead for so long. But that's racing. You've got to be there at the finish line.
Yep, the Toyota took the podium, final spot on the podium, and then we had the Renault, Porsche, Mercedes, McLaren, Subaru, Audi, and Ferrari. Thanks to everyone who tuned in for that one. I know there was a lot of people sending in comments. We all really do appreciate that. Thanks to everyone who has been tuning in. Now, tomorrow we do have the Nations Cup event as well. It will be from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock local time. That's 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. So make sure you're here with us for that. The way it's going to work, 10 drivers have qualified for it. There will be 3 races which they will score points in, and then after that the points standings will set the grid for the final race. Just before then, your expectations for the Nations Cup tomorrow, of course, sprint racing tomorrow, individual event. So it's going to be fantastic, isn't it?
It's going to be great, and I think you guys need to be here to watch it. Make sure to tune in tomorrow.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. We're going to be going down to do the podium now after what was a fantastic Manufacturers' Cup. So we will hand now over to our host, Matza, who is with the top 3 teams.
What a crazy and breathtaking race that was. In the end, unbelievable. Let us say thank you again to the inventor of this awesome game, Kazunori Yamauchi. Thank you so much. You're going to be delivering, yes, everything. Nice to have you here, delivering the prizes, and we will have the teams right here at the podium right now. So please, a big up for 3rd place, Team Toyota. It's Pierre, Patrick, and Matteo. Where are you guys? There. Yeah, congrats to you guys. And now we come to the 2nd place, actually. 2nd place, what a breathtaking fight in the end. 2nd place goes to Team Nissan with Kimmo, Tom, and Marcus. Congrats! Team 3 over here. On place number 3. Yeah. Place number 2 is going to be here. Oh yeah, there's the trophy, there's the team. Awesome work done, guys. Really big honor to you. And of course, we have a winner. And the winner is Team BMW, Anthony, Philip, and Matteo. Oh yes, pictures about to be taken. Great. Yeah, it's going to be a bit tight on the podium, but you'll make it anyway. Yes. For a last picture. Okay, these are the 3 winning teams of the Manufacturers' Cup of the Gran Turismo World Tour Start event. Really, you made us so happy today. This was kind of an awesome and exciting afternoon for me. And yeah, thank you to everyone. Thank you to the commentators. Thank you to the Gran Turismo team. And of course, thank you to the racers. And thank you to you guys at the live stream and right here at the arena. This was an awesome afternoon. I enjoyed it so much. See you again tomorrow. Tomorrow at night at 10 p.m. we're going to have the Nations Cup finals. This is going to be awesome again, hopefully. So I'm really looking forward to see you back again. Looking forward to see you back again. Have a great evening.
Well, at the podium, Jimmy, I guess from us, it's a thank you for tuning in to everyone at home. Make sure you are with us tomorrow. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in. We really do appreciate it, and be back tomorrow for the Nations Cup final at 10 p.m. local time here in Germany.
Konnichiwa.
Okay.
How are you?
Good. Please.
This looks nice.
これからグランツーリスモの
Recovery intertwines.
それをやると
Peripherals and get to the apex. The feedback is really nice with this. I like it. It's so much like the real thing. It looks so good. The road, the shadows, everything. The car's optimum is here, but I operate it here to get on power early to get a good exit. My general driving style is very aggressive. You want to get in as late as possible. You want to keep the minimum speed up.
確認ながら走ってても限界ギリギリなんだよね。
Sorry guys, I'm just making some changes. If you shift too early, we get the snap oversteer. I would love to be a mentor for adults or kids to be able to give guidance. The reason I do the wide motion is to get the power. Especially if you never spin, you're not trying hard enough. So happy.
Thank you.
It's almost endless what you're able to do with this thing. Really, really cool.
McLaren Vision GT is a visceral experience. It puts you at the forefront of the vehicle. You really get the sensation of speed and the dynamic nature of what McLaren is.
We want to break new ground, we want to innovate. This car, this design really does do that. It really puts the driver and the game player at the centre of the action.
The Ultimate Vision GT was built on the hybrid powertrain. With that, we were able to push the boundaries of what that platform was able to achieve. The design process starts off with sketching through some concepts. We'll then transition that into digital renderings and the clay model that represents the initial concept of the vehicle.
Another really exciting tool we use is the Powerwall. So we're able to look at detailed design, proportions, front overhang to rear overhang.
We then begin to look at the volumes in 3D development, and that's where the VR came in. Being able to get within the cockpit, understand the driving position, the person using the car, as well as the design of it.
From the game player's point of view, the driving experience in this car will be like nothing else. The amazing glass cockpit, this sort of motorcycle driving position. So your head is very far forwards, almost right above the front axle.
It pushes the driver to really drive fast.
It allows you to get these great views through the car, through the suspension, through the wishbones. You can see exactly where the apex of the corners are, so you can really shave all those milliseconds off each lap.
As you come into a corner, the brakes glow, the suspension moves, the turbo noise and the popping noises of the exhaust that really make it a special experience.
Every surface is shrink-wrapped. We use layers to guide the air both inside and outside the panels. The form is communicating exactly what the car's intentions are. For us, it's the ultimate expression of what our design pillars and principles are. It's not only the best car on the track, but it has to feel like it's the best car on the track. The carbon fibres, the titanium, we've been able to indulge and put them all into this car.
It was really exciting to work on a design with literally no limitations. So looking at the use of carbon, low drag paints within the interior materials, looking at grip, comfort, zoning, support for the driver. And we could really develop some new ideas that have never been thought of before.
The McLaren Ultimate Vision GT, it's a sensory overload, incredible sound, acceleration through the roof.
The sensation of speed, the forward visibility.
The way it looks, it's a stunning looking car.
The dynamic nature of the way a McLaren, and especially an Ultimate Series McLaren performs, is what separates it from any other vehicle in the game.
Heaven.
The Ultimate Vision GT is the ultimate in performance.
I can't quite believe I'm doing this, but I'm currently driving in a general test session at Donington Park in McLaren's first Can-Am Championship winning car. It's Bruce McLaren's first championship winning car. It's an M6A from 1967, and it's an absolute monster of a thing. It's the first time I've sat in the car today. Woohoo!
I think the essence of what McLaren is about, and therefore what Bruce McLaren is about. You know, you have him up there with the Enzo Ferraris and the very best of the best. But what he was doing, he was engineering the cars, he was racing them better than anyone else was racing them. He was ambitious, you know, from the other side of the world, from a racing context. So he travelled up sticks, moved across the world with this sort of passion and this drive, and then he set about creating something that was very much his idea of how things should be done.
Pretty hard to concentrate on driving this car and talking to you at the same time. Oh wow. But just to give you an idea of the physics involved, this car weighs around 615 kilos and it has 525 horsepower propelling it, which is an absurd ratio in something that's 50 years old this year. The really remarkable thing about this car, apart from the madness of its performance, is this car is really the start it's not the very beginning of the McLaren story, but it's the origin of the start of the legend.
It's my understanding that this car, they wanted to make a simple car that they could develop, and I think reliability was always a much more of an issue with historic cars in period. I think they've become more reliable now, but they very much were races of attrition as much as anything. If you look at the old footage of the races, they're rough, quite rough tracks, and they were long races. And as I said, lots of power, lots of torque, so the car's under quite a lot of stress. But the scale of what they were doing with Can-Am and with a Formula One Grand Prix program as well, with a small bunch of guys, I think that's the romance of motorsport, and that's perhaps what it's lost now, where it's become a massive business, and you just imagine these really very clever, sharp, ambitious, bold, but actually probably quite humble guys just working away, creating something, and then going out there and testing themselves against the best people that were out there, competing with them. So I think that's the whole. All of that is bound up in that car, and I think that's why people who are McLaren fans have a great fondness for what was done then, and I think that follows through now. It's still part of what the team's about, definitely.